Ladies and gentlemen, hello! Good evening, good morning. Who knows when you're watching this? It could be morning, it could be afternoon, I have no idea. But in whatever case, welcome to the 16th season of the Blackout Racing League. And already someone is saying, cheap viewers on, you know what? I actually don't care. How about that? Thanks, but no thanks. Anyways, a new season of Formula 1 Blackout also means a new Formula 1 game. It's also crazy to note at this point that I've commentated Blackout for almost an entire year. That has gone by very quickly indeed, but it's been a very, very nice quickly. Is that a good way of putting it? I don't even know. But the point is, it's a year's gone pretty damn fast, and that's all you really need to know. Firstly, look at these awesome graphics. If you didn't watch my stream last week, Magico made them for me. They are amazing. There's a stream starting screen, there's a standby screen, and there's a stream ending screen. So thank you for watching. Goodbye. No, I jest. But they look great, basically. That is all you need to know. Back to the standby screen, though. Look at that SB. Sigma Brian, they call him in the trade. But what I want to go through today is, well, what you can expect from Season 16. First of all, the teams and the... Good God, that is cursed. But it's the teams and the drivers for this season. And you can see a lot of numbers on the screen. That is the amount of points that each of the drivers scored last season, if they were in the championship. Avalanche was not in the championship last season in the Alpine team. If that's a precursor for how their season is going to go, it's going to be a very, very long set of races. But he wasn't a regular driver. He didn't drive at all last season, in fact. Whether he was a reserve or a regular driver, he was not there for the party. He is back this time, though, driving in Alpine. But let's find out where everyone else is. So, the two teammates with the biggest combined points, it's of course Milo and Buck20. You can't separate them. They're like conjoined twins at this point, which, the irony of that being, you can't actually use conjoined twins in a Formula 1 car. So how's that possible? But either way, they got 692 points combined. They got the first choice of the teams, and they obviously picked McLaren, because no one can prize McLaren away from them. In fact, the day someone does prize McLaren away from them, we might get a report of a high-profile murdering. Terziak and Slam, they were teammates last season, but they are now in the Scarlet Ferrari Red for this season 16 of Blackout. We have Will, Buck57, and Thanasi, 2 times a champion on F1 23, 200 and 361 points. In fact, Terziak, he obliterated Thanasi's score. No idea what happened to him. But anyway, 561 points. They are in the Red Bull, which, given how real life is going for them, might not be a great idea. But let's hope they can turn their fortunes around. Timalele, he's back, or as we know him on this spreadsheet, Timely. What a name that is. But either way, he's paired up with my husband, Magico, and they are in the Mercedes. I'm doing quite well so far. Hopefully we'll be able to identify who's driving for who without saying that Stark and Wilco are driving for Aston Martin. Speaking of Stark and Wilco, here they are. They're in the Williams cars. Fantastic. Soap, Serena, and Venus, get your running shoes on, because you're going to have a lot of pace this season. Tarquin and Dirk, that is Jamie Tarquin for all of you seasoned Blackout folk. They are in the Aston Martin, so that could be very interesting. We have Maximus and Pathihas driving a MAN, and then we have J-Lane and Vulcan driving the Alfa Romeo. And I have just realised what I've said for Haas, and we're going to ignore it and move on. We then have Big Man. Good grief, we have Big Man and Giraffe, who are, well, had the last of the picks, well, apart from, obviously, Avalanche, who's gone to, well, I don't, 118, I guess, but AlphaTauri is where Big Man and Giraffe find themselves seated for this season, or as they're now known, the Visa Cash App MasterCard Contactless Visa Red Bull team. It doesn't roll off the tongue very well, but they have a nice livery at least, so there you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can imagine, we are on F1 24 for this league. Oh, hang on, there's a producer in my ear here. No, we are not on F1 24. As it turns out, it is an absolute disaster class, or for lack of an F1 pun, dishaster class. And so we are on F1 23. There's obvious reasons for that. One being the handling is terrible. The second one being the physics are terrible. The third one being their attitude towards how tyre pressures work is completely incorrect. And fourth, the handling is terrible. So, we are on F1 23, at least for the first few rounds, and then when a handling patch comes out, whenever that might be, we will eventually, in theory, transition onto F1 23.5. But all of that in good time. Just to mull you over, just to mull over the time a little bit, we're also going to talk about the calendar for this season. Unfortunately, I don't have a graphic for the calendar, so you're just going to have to visualise one. But, excuse me, here is what you can expect. Actually, there are a few things that got passed through. There was some votings before the start of this season, which I'm just screen grabbing for you all. Very interesting, actually. A lot of options for people to mull through and get an idea of what they were getting themselves into. However, as you will see in a few seconds' time, with my insane OBS skills, in about a few milliseconds, you will see, aha, here we are. A Milo message has appeared on my screen, and it's going to be wide as well. So these were the voting results. As you can see, there were things like stronger punishments for raging. It's a community league, obviously. I mean, like, it should be mostly out of the question in terms of raging. We're here primarily to have fun, but it is still racing, and it can get quite hot-headed, as I found out last season, because I was one of them sometimes. But there are stronger punishments now for raging. So it's lucky I had a pretty cool head a lot of last season. Standard damage, instead it was reduced with standard rate. It is now standard and standard. Very interesting. Full-length races, there are going to be, I think, 3 100% races. So expect a couple of weeks, or a few weeks in fact, where there are 100% races. All of that will be revealed very, very soon. And there are 3 times 35%ers, which means there are 3 weeks... I don't think that's right, but there's some weeks of 3 times 35% races, which is also what happened last year. There was a week where we had France, Italy, and Abu Dhabi in the same week, and it was very, very fun indeed. And that is, it was fun for me for various reasons, but I'll reveal that in a second to indulge you. Things that didn't get past. Well, there was a Triple Crown week last time. I didn't stream it because I forgot. It was fun, I thought, but the majority didn't want it, so we're just going to have to host our own. Forced wet to dry. No Bernie Eccleston sprinklers round here. That has been eliminated. Constructor sprints. So that actually would set the order in the sprint races so that the... Hello, that's a F1 23 sound if I've ever heard one. It would change it so that it would go in constructor's order. So if, for instance... I'm just picking on Haas here, but if Haas were last in the constructors, both of their cars would be first and second. And then if it was AlphaTauri, they'd be third and fourth, McLaren fifth and sixth, etc., etc., etc. Obviously, that's not realistic, but the point is that is how it would work. But that didn't go through, so we don't have to care about that. Points changed. There was a plan to change the points. Going from, instead of awarding points from first down to 15th, it would have been first down to 20th, with 20 points for first place and 1 point for plumb last place. That didn't go through either. And races being announced on the day. I actually thought this was quite a good idea, you know. Catch people unawares. Maybe they have to practice a wider flurry of tracks. But no, that did not get past either. And so we find ourselves here in Season 16. Those are the rules. And now, just to indulge you completely, I'm going to show you the season standings from last year. And yes, as you can see, I was the champion. And we don't need to elaborate on that anymore. I'm streaming through my races in my perspective, so if you want to watch me do that, it'll be every so often. But I've done 4 of the races so far, where I came 16th, 8th, and then won 2 of them. So that's fun. But yeah, there's totally plenty more. Well, there will be plenty more where that came from, as you can see. I was teammates with Magico. Where did he finish? 12th. Look at him go. 3 points ahead of Big Swimmer. What a guy. And we finished top of the constructors. It was a great season. That's all you really need to know. But Terziak, I've gone back to my commentary pen for this season. Not for any other reason other than I just miss doing commentary. Basically, that's the only reason. Thanasi 4th. That's, well, to be honest with you, if Thanasi had done all the races that season, I think it would have got very, very tasty indeed. But he didn't. And so my blood pressure was significantly lowered as a result. Which is always good fun. Just waiting for the lobby to come up, which is why I am waffling a little bit. That is a completely different thing. But these were the standings anyway. Milo got 3rd, as you can see. Milo had a great season, actually. I have a spreadsheet of all of the standings from last season. Well, all of the results and whatnot, anyway, that I saw. So let's go and find it. Positions-wise, here we go. Blackout standings, Season 15. This is what it all looked like. And this is my very nice Excel spreadsheet, as you can see. Milo, who came 3rd in the standings, actually got 2 wins in normal race trim, a smattering of podiums, actually was definitely consistent towards the end of the season. McLaren always seemed to find a way in the constructors' standings. That is just the way it goes. And then it was Stanassi, then it was Stark for Aston Martin in 5th, Buck 20 in 6th, Tim in 7th. Hello there, big man Wilco. How is it going, mate? Timolele, by the way, got 7th, and he only started at the French Grand Prix, which was just over halfway through the season. He's just stop it, man. It's not very nice. Buck 57 was in 8th. Dirkleton in 9th. Jamie Tarquin in 10th. That's why they're teammates, because they're just so evenly matched. Pathitman in 11th. Magico 12th. Big Sam, J-Lane and Slam complete the top 15. Wilco was 16th, although he didn't attend about 89% of the races, so that's probably why. Vulcan 17th. Maximus 18th. Giraffe 19th. Dan Gilligan raced for a couple of races. He got 20th. Actually drove a very good race in the week he did, Belgium and Bahrain. So props to him. Guardian 21st with Deviljack. Raiden was the last of the point scorers. And then TBC got joint 24th 6 times, and that is very impressive indeed. Constructors, Alpine won last season, so they have a tall order in order to keep that streak alive. McLaren right on top of things, though, only 90 points, separating 1st and 2nd. Red Bull in 3rd, Mercedes 4th, Aston Martin rounds out the top 5. Williams, Alfa Romeo, Ferrari. Alfa Romeo beat Ferrari, by the way. That was a shock for me. AlphaTauri 9th, Haas in 10th, and had the reserves been their own constructor, they would only just have finished behind Williams. And that really is pretty damn impressive. So there you are. What we're going to do now is we're just gonna have a little break, really, to be honest with you. We are going to wait for this lobby to come up, and then we shall get underway with the first race of the season. So stay tuned, because it is set to be a corker. ladies and gentlemen, the sound of the mic turning off means you know what time it is. It is time for Formula 1 racing. Oh, yes, it is great to be back on the microphone for each and every single one of you. And, well, let's see what this new season brings. Who can concoct the most creative and crafty results there are to find? Only time will tell. But, of course, being a new season of Blackout and a new game cycle, we are doing all of the races in order, pretty much, in terms of chronological. And Buck 57 has already left the session. That is not a good omen. But let us get underway. It is daytime for qualifying. That is not at all confusing. I remember the days when Bahrain used to be in the daytime in real life. The early 2010s. Pretty much ever since it started in 2000, before it became a night race in 2014. And it has never looked back since. And even though it is completely bone dry, the floodlights are still on. Greenpeace have words. By the way, Wilco's just said, I'm so happy you're not racing. Lifetime ban. Well, if a lifetime ban means I just have to stick to commentary, I won't be too disgruntled. Let's put it that way. So, look at these. These are your drivers for this evening. Oh my gosh, what a stonker we have for you today. Big Sam is already going out onto the track as one of the first to head his way out for Blackout Season 16. And that marks the dawn of a new season. Many fierce battles to be had. Many rivalries to ignite. Who knows what could happen? That's the beauty of it. In the Williams, it's Captain Wilco. In the Williams car. In the blazing sun of Sakir. Just gauging the conditions, you know. One step at a time and all that. Let us get a nice little track map just to see what on earth is going on. There we go. That'll be very nice indeed. So, what can we expect from our first qualifying session of the season? There are 15 drivers. I was just going through them for a brief moment. In the Mercedes, ladies and gentlemen, it's my husband. Magico is in the Mercedes. And that is pretty marvellous, if I do say so myself. Milo, there he is, in the McLaren. Some things never change. Big Sam's out and about. We saw him. Maximus in the Haas car, remaining at the American-based team, despite the fact their factory, I think, is in Italy. And they have Ferrari power units, and they're run by a Japanese person. They couldn't be further away from America if they tried, but you know what? You can't fault them for giving it a good go. Vulcan in the Alfa Romeo. He's jumped ship from the Haas team. Thought that was a catastrophe. And now he's in the Alfa Romeo car, hoping for bigger fortunes. We have Stark in the Williams car, and they're the only ones that are out. Big Sam, then, is on a lap. Let's ride on board with the AlphaTauri driver to see what kind of lap he can provide and lavish the rest of the grid with. Underneath the Rolex sponsorship as he heads towards the 100-metre board, braking at that exact point. Roll the car through, let the understeer almost carry you through. A little bit of time left on the table, but it is the first lap, so there is plenty to be found. That right-hander, there was a lot to be found, I will confess. However, he's going to carry on powering through in the Toro Rosso car. Plant on the power, try and get the car straightened up as quickly as possible. Wilco behind him on a lap, as is the Alfa. No, it isn't, because J-Lane's just come out of the pits. It is, in fact, Milo, the third car on the track, to be on a flying lap. Big Samuel, then, the big swimmer. Which is quite funny, really, because there's no water in sight in this place. Not using all of the track just yet, getting a feel for the conditions. Obviously be a lot hotter. The tyres will be, well, like Mount Vesuvius, really. And that killed millions of people. But it's a purple sector, so he's doing better than Mount Vesuvius did in a Formula 1 car. As through Sector 3 he goes. Just one more corner between Big Sam and Provisional Pole. And the first ever time of Season 16. Don't hold your breath. I mean, you can hold it if you want. I don't advise it, but DRS flappage open. There's an Alfa Romeo that span Big Sam across the line for a 1:30.1. Let's see what Wilco can do. He's been on a stormer. DRS open across the line, and it's only a 10th quicker, but it is quicker nonetheless. So 1:30.0. Milo, third place in the driver's standings last time. Hopefully going, or trying to attempt to go for even better this season. dart the nose into the final corner, or if you're on F124, Fernando Alonso the steering wheel, and just expect the car to grip anyway. DRS open across the line. It's a crushing 1 minute 29.4. A lovely little lap time. Maximus will be next across the line. DRS open, and it's a 1 minute 32.0. Mercedes man Magico, P3. Okay. Give him some zest, my son. That is incredible. Slam across the line. He's in the Ferrari car for this season. Like I said, him and Terziak remaining in the same team. I believe it was Vulcan, actually, that span. Not that I'll know it, because for some reason he got plummeted down. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's our first nose that's gone missing. Lord Voldemort's going to have a great time this season. Unfortunately, not a great time for Vulcan. What can Stark do? Across the line he goes. Into P2 he goes. Milo is more than a cut above the rest. He's a full slice above the competition. Let's see what the others can try and muster up, but that is quite the ominous margin he's found himself already. Jonathan Lane through the left-hander, sweeping through in the stake kick Sauber Alfa Romeo F1 team. Again, oh, purple sector 2 though, hello. J-Lane might be cooking. He's actually, I believe he's on, he's on Steam apparently. I thought he was on PlayStation. He said he was going to be, but he's on Steam anyway. He's decided to forgo that 1.5 seconds advantage. Something like that, I'm paraphrasing, don't quote me on it, but he's going to have DRS open at the end of the straight, and well, at the beginning of the straight, at the end of the lap, and it will be P2. The second driver into the 1 minute 29s is the Alfa Romeo man. But there is an AlphaTauri on the horizon, and it is Big Swimmer again as he goes for another flying lap. Timalele, Thanasi, and Terziak all yet to set lap. In fact, yet to come out of the pits as a whole. Goodness me. Well, here's Mr. Slam. Hasn't lived up to his name, which is good news for him. He has slammed it into P7 for the time being, but there are fine margins to be found here in Blackout. So there's no need to be disgruntled. Just be gruntled. Aston Martin's Jamie Tarquin. Here he is. DRS wide open underneath the Aramco sponsorship. The oil company, but as Jamie Tarquin oiled and greased his car up to slip and slide its way through Sakia, well, I hope not, because that probably won't gain him much time. But it's a good little section through there. Is it a purple sector 2? It is a purple sector 2. This man ran with full assists until very recently, and on a controller. He's either a really big sweat, or we don't know the full potential of his maximum power. We're about to find out what his first bite of the cherry in Blackout can be. And considering it's season 16, no, still not legal, is it? DRS wide open, Jamie Tarquin into P2. Milo still holds a 2/10 advantage, but the times are tumbling down. Finally, we have one of the big protagonists from last season coming out once again, Mr. Terziak. The Flying Scotsman inside an Italian. That is a fusion of mass confusion, but I am looking forward to seeing what this guy does this season. Deathly consistent at the beginning of last season. Pretty much didn't finish off the podium until, I think it was the Belgian Grand Prix. He was absolutely on it from the word go. Sort of unravelled towards the end of last season, and you do have to feel for him, but looking for more and going for gold in Blackout Season 16, and that is what matters most. However, Buck 57 is on a lap, so let's watch him. Through the left-hander he goes, braking nice and late. There's an Alfa Romeo. No, it's not. It's an Aston Martin with a slight problem. What's happened there? It's not Dirkleton, because he's just gone on an outlap. Jamie Tarquin's had a skill issue, for lack of a better term, so back to Buck 57. Very nicely swept through the hairpin there. Jamie Tarquin keeping well out of the way, as he should do, so well done him. Maximum flappage from the Red Bull driver. Sharpening his horns into the left-hander. Felt a little bit conservative through there, but all to play for still. As he hugs the inside of the right-hander. Now into the next right-hander. It's like a lot of other tracks, I'll be honest with you. Still, the track limit's not being toyed with just yet. Not even halfway, just about halfway through this qualifying session. Drivers will be beginning to push the limits a bit more. Just a little bit more. Every single inch matters. That's what I tell myself at the nightclub. But Buck 57 across the line for his first lap, and it's a 1 minute 30.062. Hardly anything to separate 5th through, well, 8th to be honest with you, as Stark's got into the 1 minute 29s, I think on old tyres, so fair play to him. 1 minute 29.8. Vulcan is on a lap, so let's watch him. Terziak's just coming through the Sector 2 hairpin, so keeping a close eye on his progress here at Bahrain. Car darted in very nicely for Vulcan there. Had a few very, very good races, it must be said, last season did Vulcan. Miami in particular was an absolute stormer. For the Alfa Romeo driver, kicking and screaming his way through Sakia. Can he muster his way up the leaderboard significantly? DRS open across the line. It's P9 for the time being. Not too far off Big Sam. That is a very, very solid benchmark to go for. Magico is nowhere near. Someone's followed me. Thank you very, very much to whoever that was. Io sono Giacomino. Thank you, sir. Grazie. Grazie. Grazie mille. I know what Italian is. Thank you very much, man. I hope you enjoy. Welcome to Blackout. Enjoy the chaos. That is all I can say. Terziak is washed. Terziak is washed. The 1 minute 33.981. It's going to be a tough season for him, but a man who has started a lap is this man, Thanasi. Obviously, finished P4 last season. Wasn't the greatest stab at things. However, he didn't attend most of the races that year. And when he did attend races, my blood pressure elevated significantly. His racecraft is almost second to none and already pushing the track limits to the absolute edge. He is right on the ragged edge of the Red Bull through every single corner, and it's a purple first sector for the man who's in, well, a team that faces controversy and a lack of pace at the moment. So it's not going great for them so far. Magico is coming through the final corner and he pits. Well, there you go. Tim Alele's also on a lap, by the way. He'll be the first of... Well, it's the 3 or 4. He's got a purple Sector 2. That's the main thing for him. Everyone's setting purple Sector 2s at the moment. It could be a glitch. I hope it's not for the sake of Tim Alele. But at the end of the day, I've seen a smattering of purple times coming up through that particular split. But with maximum flappage, the diffuser hunkering to the ground. DRS open. It's pole position, and it's a 1 minute 28.9 from Tim Alele. The first man to break into that barrier, but we have 2 more that could potentially breach it. The Flying Scotsman. Nothing left of the battery. The Duracell Bunny is crying himself to sleep. He's just 2 tenths off. What can Thanasi do against Tim Alele? Across the line, it's 25 thousandths of a second. That separates the top 2, and these top 3 drivers are going to have an absolute slobber knocker to settle between them all the way through this season. I am so looking forward to it. Good grief. Meanwhile, Dirk, what are you doing, man? 1 minute 53.1. Good grief. My goldfish goes round Bahrain faster than that, and he's dead. He's still got 6 minutes. It's probably fine. So, Tim Alele, provisional pole sitter for the moment. Raiden says, good luck, racers. Good luck to them all indeed. So far, a very juicy qualifying session in the daytime. Good grief. Before you all ask, I don't actually know what the pole time was in Bahrain last year. What I can tell you, though, it was me. I don't know what time I got, though. I genuinely can't remember. But Tim Alele, the first driver before Thanasi came along, and was the second driver to breach into the 1 minute 28 barrier. Well, through it, to be honest with you, as he invalidates his lap time. Crucially for him, though, on and out lap, so who cares? Nothing to separate. Probably in the top 3 if Terziak gets a lap on the properly fresh tyres together. It's going to get very tasty indeed. Big Swimmer's out on a lap meanwhile. Where is he in the grand scheme of things? Is he on a push lap? I think he is. Let's have a look at him then, because it's legal. It's not stalking if it's blackout, I promise you. Wilco might be on a lap. Let's find out. He is. He's absolutely drained the battery. When are you coaching me? Give me a call. Luckily for you, I don't charge. Across the line goes Wilco, and it's up to P6 into the 1 minute 29s convincingly. 1 minute 29.7, and so the times continue to tumble. Big Swimmer breaststroking his way through the right-hander, and considering his Twitch history, probably rather appropriate. Down the penultimate straight he goes towards the final corner. Break about halfway in between the 100 and the 50. How big are your cojones? Are their testicles made of tungsten today? Big Sam across the line. It's a P5. That's a cracking time from Big Sam. 1 minute 29.6. Just the height of Tarquini, who's just gone across the line. And if it ends with him barrel rolling, then I have cursed him a bit too well, so I can only apologise. Through the first couple of corners, and there's a Mercedes in the infield. Magico going for a spot of lawn mowing, just to make sure he keeps out of the way of Jamie Tarquin, and does well to get out of his way, to be honest with you. Through the right-hander. If I use the phrase, to be honest with you again, just someone slap me, please. I'll be frank, it's really annoying. Except I'm not Frank, my name's Karl. So through the right-hander we go, a little bit wide of the apex. Controller plays, just inducing a bit too much understeer, but this is the corner where it matters. Through the hairpin, dart towards the apex, and that was very nicely executed. Perhaps not the optimal speed through that final stanza of it, but he got the car straightened up, right on the power, and now not playing, well, he's playing big chicken time with the track limits. Unfortunately, that chicken got destroyed. Oh dear, just like Jamie Tarquin's rear tyres, unfortunately. A big snap and slide out of the left-hander, and now he has to dart the nose into the right. He's playing catch-up all the while, and, well, I think he'd have bought it. To be honest, if he could have bought it, there's no reason why he can't. There's just under 3 minutes to go. And if he gets into the pit lane, he can get another fresh set of tyres on, unless he's planning to go for those strats. And indeed, he is going into the pit lane. A wise decision there from Tarquini. The lone Haas car of Maximus on a proper flying lap. 1.4 seconds off the pace. He's going to get the award for biggest improvement. Into P7 he goes. That is an absolute screamer. The American Dream, Big Sam's retired from the session. He is in the pit lane note, so it's fine. Buck 57, Stanasi. Oh no! Massive spin for Maximus. Unfortunately, over-maximising the rear tyres, and he's goosed it. But where's Buck 57 in all this? We are going to find out. Not playing chicken at all with the track limits. You play chicken with the track limits, or the track limits play chicken with you. I don't know what that means, and you shouldn't know either. But the point is, Buck 57 going through the right-hander. Underneath Mick Schumacher's cruises. Plant on the power. Let those rear tyres basically scream their way out of the corner. Bite into the bitumen as much as possible. But are you limiting yourself? Luckily on this game, tyre pressures are actually realistic. Lower tyre pressures equals lower temperature. Because people forget, unfortunately, in the F1 24 space that, well, that even the lowest pressures is still pretty high pressure. So there you go. Through the fundamentally penultimate corner, it's another purple sector for Buck 57 through that particular section of corners. The times are tumbling down. Well, Raiden says Max is trying to end others' quali after his leap. That is, well, he's not beating the allegations, unfortunately for him. But through the DRS zone, across the line, up into only P10. What can Magico do as he crosses the line? Times, oh my good Lord almighty. Magico up into P4, but surely there are plenty of times to come down. Stark across the line, can't beat Magico. Where's that time come from? Good grief, I knew Magico had improved last season, but I did not expect that for 1 second. That is mightily impressive. Vulcan beginning another flying lap here. Slam, I think, next across the line. No, it's not. It's Terziak to start his final flying lap of qualifying, surely. Same for Milo. Slam across the line. DRS open. Only can go P13. Red Bull across the line. It's Stanasi. Start his final flying lap. Maximus is spinning again in the background. It's pirouette. It's pirouette perfection, I can't lie, but there's only so many flowers you can give this man. Timalele across the line. He's going to start his final flying lap. Good grief, it is all happening here. Milo's actually just crossed the line, my apologies. 1 minute 29.1, but who knows what this man could do? Who knows what the two ahead of Milo could do? Times are still yet to a tumble, and we are going to be watching the left side of our screens like a hawk all the way through. J-Lane moves up to P5, cracking time from the Alfa Romeo driver. Terziak gets the hairpin sorted out, carries good speed out of the corner, plants the tyres, bites into the bitumen like nothing else, and like a honey badger, he is ripping the testes off of this track. Good grief. The commentary's unhinged today, so is the Honey Badger. Terziak, the Flying Scotsman, chugging his way through the right-hander. Plant on the brakes, it's a purple sector too. And with the fresher tyres, not using a lap, well, as a compromised lap, essentially. And then having to re-go again. He's got confidence, he's got knowledge. He should be able to start retires from the session. He's in the pits, it's fine. Through the right-hander goes Terziak. Is it going to be provisional pole for the prancing horse? DRS open! It's not provisional pole. It's so close yet so far. Thanasi will be next to let the times tumble. Wilco can only go P8. Thanasi into P1 he goes. Almost 4 tenths. It's 3.5 tenths up. Tim is still yet to cross the line though. His final bite of the cherry, his stab at success, crossing the line, and it's not enough. And Thanasi is back on pole position in Blackout Racing. And we are certainly back like we never left. Thanasi read the script and said, yes, that will be the script. He saw he'd get pole position. He's got pole position. Just over 2 tenths separate himself and Timoleile. Terziak rounds out the top 3. Milo and J-Lane, and even Magico, I'll tell you what, mate. I will tell you what. I know you're my husband. I might be a bit biased, but that is a stonking lap from you. I don't know where the hell you got that from, but that is stonking. Well done, mate. Absolutely. Joy fills my heart as a happy waifu, honestly. Riding on board with Wilco, who ended in P8. That is a cracking way to start the season in qualifying. But let's have a look at our overall running order. The good news is there's only 15 drivers, so everyone is going to score points today, so long as they complete over 75% race distance. But Thanasi is your pole sitter, just over 2 tenths ahead of the German Timoleile, the German insider German. Terziak, the Flying Scotsman, in P3. Milo in P4. Jimothy Lane in P5. My husband in 6th. Again, stonking effort. Well done, mate. Williams lock out the 4th row. Big Sam in 9th. Jamie Tarquin rounds out the top 10 with Maximus, Buck 57, Vulcan, Slam, and Dirkleton rounding out your grid for this first race of the season. For those of you that are new to the Blackout Racing League, firstly, welcome. It's good to have you on board. But our race format is as follows. As it is daytime in Sakia. Tyre temperatures could get interesting then. Perhaps you do want a harder tyre strategy then, because the softs might just boil over in these conditions. Who knows? I'm sure everyone here's probably calculated that. I certainly haven't. But, like I was saying, for those of us that are a little less familiar to Blackout, let me explain what's going to happen today. As you can tell from the title, there are 2 races today. There is one in this here, Bahrain, and there's one after in Jeddah. But one is a 35% race, which is this race, and the second race in Jeddah will be a 50% race. That is the general format. However, like I said, there are a few weeks which throw some spanners into the works. There's a week with 3 35% races, for instance, which are one-shot qualies, I think. Then there's a week with just 1 race, but it's 100%. 100% race. We did one of those last season at the British Grand Prix. Actually, pretty good fun. It started out dry, great fun, then turned wet. That was less fun for me, I can't lie. I hadn't practiced in the wet for a while, but that was essentially my practice and race all rolled into one. Hang on a second. Terziak and Thanasi have exactly the same number. They do have the same number. Oh no, that's a massive balls up. Well, how have the FIA allowed that, honestly? Good grief. They should really quality control check each of the drivers before the race, but that sounds really dodgy. Look, anyway, we're here. We are waiting with bated breath for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Season 16. Hello. Hello, Ed. Welcome to Blackout. Good grief. We had just had a great qualifying session, I'm telling you. Had an absolutely fantastic fight up at the front, and it's set to continue in the race. 5 red lights on season 16. Lights out, and away we go. And it's a good start for Timoleile against Thanasi. Looks like a bit too much wheel spin. He's heading down the inside as they toboggan towards turn 1. Timoleile in the Mercedes takes the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. What a start from the Mercedes driver on the medium tyres. Terziak against Milo. There's a big spin for J-Lane. No! In 4th place, started out. Now he's finding himself in 14th place. A disastrous start. Stark's gone up to P5. What a start from him. Magico remains P6. Jamie Tarquin making moves against Big Sam. The other Alfa Romeo's having problems. Vulcan half spins round, facing towards barrier. Luckily, no damage, just emotional. So, Tim leads. Thanasi second. Terziak's found his mojo and got his rhythm back. Now up into 3rd, and he's on the soft tyres. Goodness me, so we better get a move on. If he's got a plan, he's got to get on with it. Milo in 4th on the mediums, Stark in 5th on the mediums, and the rest is there for all to see. Buck 57 having a moment in the background, but Timalele has clear track in front of him, and that's exactly what he wanted to see. Qualifying is only half of the job. Race day is where it counts. Through towards the end of lap 1 we go then. Thanasi will try and keep within range, but Terziak's got a great exit. The soft tyres providing immediate purchase, and Thanasi, I doubt, will fight this too much. Down the inside goes the Ferrari man into P2, and now he can set his sights up at the front on Timalele. Ed says kapow. I think you mean ka-chow, because this red car, which I wish was 95 for the sake of this particular setup, but he's not in this case. Look at that, soft tyres. Good grief, they are biting into the bitumen like nothing else. Magico and Maximus having a little scrap. It's Maximus that wins out on that particular occasion. All sorts of shenanigans happening here, and it looks like Wilco could be going for a move. Down the inside of Big Sam. He's on the hard tyres. Sam on the mediums. If Wilco can get ahead and stay ahead, he has indeed. Neat little move there. Down the inside. Now he can try and set his sights on, well, one, finding some consistency, and maybe, what good grief, trying to get past Jamie Tarquin, but Big Sam darting this way and that, looking for any potential avenue to find his way past, but Wilco says, no sir, not today. So back at the front we go, 6/10 the gap. Terziak not making as much progress as I otherwise thought he would. Timalele with the storming start, Thanasi keeping Terziak very honest, which was the story in Season 14 and also the story in Season 15. He also kept me honest, and I wasn't very happy about that. Milo keeping up nicely with this top 3 battle, though. And if they start fighting, it could get very, very tasty indeed. There's no reason why Milo can't get himself involved in this particular scrap. The slipstream train already working wonders. Little train forming behind them as well. Stark at the head of it in the Williams. Maximus on the soft tyres. Magico on the mediums, but all 3 of them doing a great job so far. DRS enabled on this lap. It's Milo with the fastest lap, and Terziak looking to the inside, just letting Timalele know he's there. All to play for here, on board with the Ferrari man. And F124, that corner would be full throttle, which is very interesting, as there's a little bit of a tussle and bustle going on behind. Stark's actually got DRS. Maximus, I think, tried to make a move. Either that or Stark's done some great DRS games. Magico could go down the inside as well. It's all happening here. Maximus round the outside of Stark. Oh, yes, he has. That is very, very neat. But look at this. Stark with another switchback as he... Not the most composed start to this race, but it is all happening right now. Apparently I've just gone offline. Is that the case? That's quite weird. Have I gone offline? No. Don't tell me I've gone offline. No. Someone please let me know if that's the case anyway. I've got a failsafe, actually. This is what I'm going to do. Stream and record at the same time. Then they can't lose the footage. Ladies and gentlemen, we return. And we are back. Goodness me, 30 seconds. I'm recording at the same time as well. It's going to be a full-on... Well, it's all opportunities. Timalele somehow still leads this. Well, if Thanasi's 1.6 seconds behind, I am officially from Turkmenistan. Because there's no way that's true. That is all I'm saying. Top 4, though, still going hammer and tongue. That's a crucial thing. Vulcan's had a big crash. Something bad's happened, and there's a safety car already on lap number 5. And I'll tell you what, you could have the opportunity to switch onto the hard tyres, but do you take that risk? Can't see what actually happened to Vulcan, which is very unfortunate. So unlucky for him, but when push comes to shove, he pushed and shoved his way into barrier. And that is not great. So our first safety car already on lap number 4, and this is the pecking order. Maximus is now up into P5 in all of that, while everything happened. Magico's still in P6, Stark in 7th, Wilco's up to 8th, because Jamie Tarquin's been pushed down to 10th, courtesy of Big Sam displacing him as well. But it's still the same top 4, Timalele, Terziak, Thanasi and Milo. And Timalele looked in, well, 2 minds about pitting, but he is pitting now. In come the top 4. To decide immediately what goes on. Stark is not pitting. Stark going for track position, as is, I believe that to be, Mr. Derek Dirkleton. Up into P2 he goes. Any histrionics in the pit lane? No, it is not. It is still Timolele out in front with Terziak, Thanasi, and then Milo. That remains your provisional top 4 so far, as J-Lane has benefited humongously from this safety car. He's up into P3. It is not over until it's over. Let's see what tyres everybody has switched on to. Obviously hards, mediums. That is very bold, my friend, but I don't blame you for it. Thanasi onto mediums, and... What? Milo, are you sure? That's all I can say is, are you sure? Are you sure that is a good idea? I'll let him mull over that potential foible. Maximus is on the hards. Wilco's on the hards. Big Sam is on the track. I can't see what tyres he's on. Magico's been nerfed down to P12 because of the double stack. That is horrible. Jamie Tarquin in 11th. Magico in P12, but he's on the mediums, crucially. So going for the offensive is the main thing. Oh no, I left for a few minutes and now a safety car. To be honest, you can't expect anything less from Blackout. That is all I can say. Raiden says softs to the end. Do it, Milo. Execute order 66. Lots of weaving. Right, lads. As a coach, as the coach that I am, literally put the brake bias to 70 or near 70%, then hold it down to like 20% and just drive. And your tyres will heat up in no time. You think you have igloos before? Well, the word igloo itself will evaporate if you try doing brake binding all the way round. That is all I'm going to say. The pecking orders change slightly then. Stark in P1, Dirkleton in P2, J-Lane up to 3rd, but it's the pitters where we have to look, because Timolele, Terziak, Thanasi, and Milo, those 4, that order remains exactly the same as it has. And then we go to, actually, the Haas, conveniently, of Maximus in P8, Wilco in 9th, Big Sam in 10th, with Jamie Tarquin, Magico, Buck 57, and Slam, completing your running order. What can we say about recent Bahrain Grand Prix then? I haven't done commentary in such a long while that I haven't been able to talk about the Bahrain Grand Prix of this year, which was naff. It was really naff. But it just ascertained that Max Verstappen is a bit of a beast, with Sergio Perez coming home for a Red Bull 1-2. And then, I think it was it Carlos Sainz that got 3rd? I genuinely can't remember. I think it was a Ferrari that came 3rd in any case. McLaren, quick off the marks, and now they're even quicker. Mercedes, slow off the marks. They're still slow. Ferrari have won 2 races this season. McLaren have won a race. And Red Bull look like they're fighting with one arm behind their back slightly. And I don't mean in terms of the Drivers' Championship. I still think that car with Max Verstappen behind the wheel is going to win a championship. The Drivers' Championship. The Constructors' Championship, I think, will be very interesting because Perez cannot do what Verstappen does, well, in any car so far from what we've seen, but certainly not in the RB20. Verstappen is just a different animal in that car, and he's proved it all the way through this season. But who knows? I'm willing to be proven wrong. Maybe there will be a new driver at the forefront and claiming the crown of the Formula 1 Drivers' Championship. End of lap number 6 then, I will hazard a guess. I don't need to hazard a guess, it's already happened. That the hazard is going off the track, and that is the safety car. One car out, Vulcan went diving into Barriar's arms. Barriar gave him a slap across the chops and said, "No sir, take me to dinner first." And Vulcan was not treated kindly. So Stark will lead them away, and we're going to watch on board with Mr. Dirkleton to see when Stark pulls the trigger. When do you choose to pull the trigger? Do you try and do it at the last corner, go for the optimal exit? Do you do it slightly earlier, or slightly later even, to try and catch your opponent off guard? There will be a wily old fox at safety car restarts. Does he go for the optimal line at the restart? No, he doesn't. Could be a concertina. Does it just after the apex. Catches Dirkleton slightly napping. That is a very well-controlled restart. And J-Lane could be right on Dirkleton, dumping every single ounce of the Duracell bunny towards turn number 1. Thanasi's got the jump on Terziak at the restart. Down the inside goes J-Lane on Dirkleton and through into P2. Timolele round the outside of Dirkleton into P3 he goes. Very neat little restart there from the Mercedes Maestro. Thanasi did everything he needed to do against Terziak. So did Milo. Terziak nerfed down to P7. And so the games continue. Massive slide from Dirkleton. Milo round the outside. I thought it was 3 wide, but good grief has Milo done well there. Into P4, that camera angle's useless. We're going to someone else. Terziak's back off into P6. He's gone round the outside of Thanasi, but he's going to get boxed in by the Aston Martin driver. Is this where he wants to be? Can Thanasi hold it round the outside? You can't fault him for trying, goodness me. Great racing between these two. Just enough space left, and Thanasi will keep ahead of Terziak. That is some beautiful racing. Terziak diving down the inside. And the prancing horse perfectly judges that particular dive into the left-hander, up into P6. And now we can try and set about getting up the road for Dirkleton once again, who's already out of DRS range of the top 4. Devastation. Timalele thought about wasting no time against J-Lane, but it's almost suicidal trying to move into the final corner. A good exit is all you need, though. Milo is on the grass. He's gone over the DRS board, and that has sent him, well, endoing over the line. And now Dirkleton is going to breeze past him. As it's all good grief, it's like NASCAR. Milo is down into P7 for a brief moment. He is now definitely down into P7. Jesus wept, that got very, very frisky for a brief moment. Timalele up into P2, Terziak up into P4. And well, DRS is not enabled yet on this lap, but if Terziak can get ahead, that's exactly what he'll want to do. Magico trying to be overtaken by Slam. No, stand tall. Oh, I tried. Big Sam's up into P9, that's pretty cool. Jamie Tarkin with a huge slide out of the left-hander. It is all happening just after this restart. Everyone fighting hammer and tong. Thanasi gets past Dirkleton, round the outside. Bit of a lock-up into the hairpin, but he is officially through. And Milo is now the one that has to displace the Aston Martin driver. DRS not enabled on this lap, but you can't help but feel that he's going to breeze past down the inside on the fresher rubber. It's academic, really. And Gold Star, first-class stamp send from the McLaren man. Into P6 he goes, and Maximus is now going to go for it. Thought he was going to dive it down the inside. I would not have blamed him in the slightest. But Dirkleton is sinking like a brick. And J-Lane is 1.5 seconds behind. Terziak's just got past him into the final corner. He's not wasting time. Could leave himself exposed, though. The slipstream so powerful on this game. And with 3/10 the gap, Thanasi is going to not only tow J-Lane, as Timalele, I have no doubt, will go for the lead. Thanasi going down the inside, squeezed towards the pit wall, but that will not faze the 2-time champion of Blackout on F1 23. Tim's gone wide. He's gone so wide. A big mistake. Thanasi up into provisional P1 after Stark makes a pit stop, although if there is a safety car, it could get quite tasty. But that is terrible news for Tim. Had it all under control, just had to get the first corner right. Milo, that traction is ridiculous. The heli-chopper shot tells you all you need to know. Milo straight through into P4. Timalele, can he go down the inside of J-Lane? No, he won't. Maximus will get him, though. Lovely opportunism. Almost a bit of contact. In fact, I think there was contact. But Maximus won't get the exit he wants. That was almost a fantastic piece of opportunistic driving, but not to be. In other news, Magico's up to P12. But Thanasi could go for the lead here, but he's going to actually stave off going for it. He's actually going to bide his time on the Williams driver, and that's really all he needs to do, because there's no reason to be overzealous. There's no reason to try and overcook the competition straight away, and therefore pierce the heart of your Pirellis and blister them to kingdom come. Just wait for the DRS, make the simple move, and then get to work. That is all you need to do. Timalele thought about going down the inside. Maximus is going to go around the outside of Tim again, or at least try to. It's all happening here, and there's a huge train of cars forming up in the background. But surely Tim with DRS is going to try and get past, and he will get past. I have no doubt about that. Maximus is not done with St. German yet, though. The luck of the Irish down the inside, and he's cleanly through into P5. J-Lane down into P7. Dirkleton 8th, but here comes Big Sam. ERS and DRS could go down the inside of J-Lane. J-Lane brave on the brakes though, holds it round the outside. Big Sam thought about a switchback on Dirkleton. Not going to happen in this particular instance, as Jamie Tarquin has a time penalty next to his name, and that is quite horrible. Up at the front then, Thanasi inevitably takes the lead of the Grand Prix. It's Milo though, that is in P3, because Terziak's had a moment. I have no idea what's happened, but that is terrible news for the Ferrari driver. The Scuderia are sulking. Milo, though, is jumping for joy. DRS wide open, down the inside. That was a cracking overtake from him. And now, as long as the softs have the purchase, he can try and get up the road towards Thanasi. And then it could get very tasty. This is what's happened, though. Magico is now up into P11. And has got Big Sam in his crosshairs. So let's see what he can do then. Huge train of cars though, being led by J-Lane. Thanasi with the fastest lap of the race. Can't say I didn't see it coming, because I certainly did. New tyres, clean air, a fast driver. Of course he's going to get fastest lap. Dirkleton up into P7 with the assistance of DRS. Wilco could try the same thing. Shimmy and shake from Big Sam, and he's tried to go round the outside of absolutely everybody. He thought about it for a brief moment. In fact, he has gone round the outside of Wilco, which is quite unbelievable. And now it's going to get very, very interesting indeed. It's 3 wide towards turn 4. Please don't make a mockery of it. J-Lane's been half spun and now fully spun for good measure. And the big beneficiary is Mr. Magico. Down the inside. Never mind. Well, he was still a big beneficiary. Let's put it that way. Now into P9. Wilco is now the head of the DRS train. And after some frosty and frantic manoeuvres, Wilco now takes the lead of the DRS train, although he's pretty much right in range of Dirkleton again. It's all happening here. Terziak has another chance at Stark in the meantime. You would imagine he's able to do it. You would imagine so. Then I thought he was easily passing Stark alongside Thanasi before, and that just didn't happen for whatever reason. But this time, I have renewed and rejuvenated faith. So let's find out what he can do. Through the final corner, there's also a Timolele behind him. So it could get quite juicy, ladies and gentlemen. Out of the slipstream, pulls the Flying Scotsman and steams his way through. Here comes St. German. And Frankfurters his way round Terziak, round the outside. By the time they're into the braking zone, he's already passed. That was confidence at the highest level. Into P3 goes Timolele. Now he can try and set his sights on Milo, who's actually catching Thanasi. Caught him up by 3 tenths on the previous lap. So, I mean, credit where credit is due. And why is Magico pit? What's happened? Did he not pit onto... Oh no, Slam's retired. Oh, safety car. Magico, if you time that on the basis of Slam potentially retiring, you are the luckiest man in the history of pit stops. Oh no! Jamie Tarquin's got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. Oh dear. All the drivers having to stick to a delta now, and Thanasi's lead, whatever it was before, although now it's down to 7 tenths. So where on earth he lost all the time, I have no idea. The answer is Miller hasn't stuck to his delta. There's the answer to your question. But for those of the drivers that haven't pit, mainly Stark and Dirkleton, they've gained a huge advantage out of this. Stark in P5 probably will retain P5 on the road. Magico on fresh softs, J-Lane on fresh softs, as Slam becomes our second retiree of the race. And of course, Thanasi is going to pit, Milo will pit, Tim will pit, Terziak will pit, Stark will pit. In fact, forget it. Everyone's going to pit. Who's surprised? I am certainly not. I am certainly not. Surely it's softs to the end for absolutely everybody. Milo on softs. Stark presumably going on to softs. Tim's on softs. Terziak's on... mediums? 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 What? Only questions that science can answer. I don't have the answers yet. Magico will jump Buck 57, which is great news for him. Jamie Tarquin is just ahead of him, but Tarquini has a drive-through penalty, and the field will get bunched up again. So really, it is not all bad. The running order then has a whiff of normality about it. Thanasi leads. Who's shocked? I'm not. Milo in second, Timalele in third, Terziak in fourth, Stark up into fifth. Gambled on the safety cars and on his tyres and track position, and it paid off handsomely. Maximus in 6th, Dirkleton 7th, Wilco 8th, Big Sam in 9th, Jamie Tarquin in 10th, but when he served his drive-through penalty, he'll be closer to Saturn, so Magico is 10th, Buck 57 is 12th, J-Lane in 13th, and rounding out the running order from space will be Jamie Tarquin. In many a previous season, the Bahrain Grand Prix has been the first race of the season. And by many a season, I mean just since 2021, because as of next season, it returns to the Australian Grand Prix. Safety car out for one more lap, which means I have to find something else to waffle on about. Esteban Ocon's leaving Alpine. That's something to waffle on about. Who saw that coming? Well, after that whole statement, I didn't really see it happening, but they're not renewing terms. He's moving on at the end of the season. Where to next? Will he be in Formula 1? I don't know. I have no idea, but it leaves Alpine with an open door for 2025, and I wish it was 2024 at the end of that, because it would have rolled off the tongue just so much better. But there you are. Who might take that seat, though? Will it be Mick Schumacher? Obviously, has driven in Formula 1 previously, affiliated with Alpine in the World Endurance Championship. Will it be Jack Doohan? Jack Doohan finished highly in Formula 2. Not just last season, I think the season before as well. He did pretty well, let's put it that way. Staked a good claim at claiming that Alpine seat, in my opinion. A few others as well that could potentially have a spot. But would you want to join Alpine? That's the really big question. Would you want to join Alpine? Don't really know. Will we end up with a situation where Ocon sat out a season and then came back to Formula 1 with a midfield team anyway after leaving Racing Point or Aston Martin or Force India or whatever it's called? Who knows? I have no idea. That's the joy of Formula 1. Anything can happen, and it usually does. Safety car, I presume, will be in at the end of this lap, and where it was Stark that led the field away and played psychological games, it will now be Thanasi to try and play a blinder on those with clear vision behind him. Safety car in this lap then, and how slow does he want to go? The answer is quite. Everybody on soft tyres except for Terziak, which I find very, very strange indeed. Yeah, oh no, actually there's quite a few drivers on the medium tyres. I stand corrected. Terziak, Maximus, Dirk and Jamie Tarquin on the medium tyres. Everybody else, though, on the softs. Position changes quickly before Thanasi pulls the trigger. Dirkleton, the big beneficiary, 8 positions gained. Well, he had nowhere to go except up because he started last, but got to be in it to win it. And he indeed has. Thanasi pulls the trigger, and ladies and gentlemen, we are back racing in the Blackout Racing League, and my God, what a restart that was. Pretty much a second gained on Milo. Good grief, that is some statement. Anyway, Milo's got to worry about cars behind him. Let's see what the likes of Magico and co can do. He's defending from Buck 57, but they're both trying to go past Jamie Tarquin, who deploys his battery. And that's a huge hit. What on earth happened? There's a huge crash, but there's not. J-Lane's just gone spearing across the track. It's a 10-second penalty. I saw someone spearing off. I couldn't tell who it was because the sun baked my vision. But good grief now, J-Lane with a million-second penalty in the grand scheme of Formula 1. That is not ideal. Back up at the front, though. Tim is on the attack. Milo dropping time hand over fist. 1.9 seconds the gap. Thanasi escaping with just over 5 tours of the Sakir International Circuit to go. It's the Bahrain International Circuit in Sakir. I don't really care, but Tim trying to use ERS as much as he doesn't actually use any, in fact. Maybe Milo's using some, I have no idea. But through the left-hander they go. .7 seconds the gap now. Good grief. Thanasi has played an absolute blinder, and he's not only going for the win today, he's going for those fastest lap points as well. You can't blame him for doing so. When was the last time this man won a race in Blackout? Actually feels like quite a while ago, which is unbelievable. But he's putting all that to bed today with a 1 minute 29.7. 3 seconds worth of a gap, but Timalele can now be unleashed, unshackled, and let's see what he can do against the Red Bull driver up at the front. Silver Arrows versus Toro Loco, as Wilco is going head-to-head with Big Sam. Down the inside he goes, and he's through. Meanwhile, Magico is up into P10 as J-Lane serves his drive-through penalty. Buck 57 could go for a move here. He's going down the inside. He's diving down the inside of Magico, but my husband holds it round the outside very well initially. A little bit of a snap on the exit, and Buck 57 capitalises brilliantly. Sort of compromises himself and his entry through those corners as a result. Magico almost has to take evasive action from how much he had to, well, how much overspeed he had on the entry. J-Lane now with another 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. It's the penalty Grand Prix here in Sakir. But Tim trying to get up the road. 3 seconds the gap. He's actually doing okay. Gaining time a little bit, but it's not going to be anywhere near enough if he wants to have any hope at whiffing P1 in this Bahrain race. 2.8 seconds. Timalele just on a higher amount, just on a little bit higher amount of battery than Thanasi. Just playing into his hands, possibly. We're going to have to find out. DRS enabled, and perhaps that gives Milo and or Terziak a fighting chance against Timalele, who seems to have good pace on the whole, really. However, perhaps not getting the optimal exits out of corners, although saying that, he's just gained 3 attempts out of that particular exit. So he's just got to thunderbolt his way through these next few corners and this middle sector, and he'll easily be out of DRS range. And that is what he's trying to do. Pushing to the absolute limit as Milo pushes to the absolute limit himself as a counterbalance in order to try and stay within DRS. That's exactly what he'll try to achieve, but it's slipping through his fingers gradually. That corner might have saved him, though, through the detection point, and Milo does remain in DRS range. Terziak remains in DRS range of him. Stark remains in DRS range of the Ferrari man. We have a 4-car DRS train up at the front. And then a slightly bigger one behind, because Maximus has Dirkleton, Wilco, Big Sam and Buck 57 all on his case. Magico keeping a watchful eye on proceedings as J-Lane's had a problem. J-Lane's had a little spin. The rear tyres are absolutely barbecued. And while that does evoke some slight flavourage, it does not invoke a good result. That's using more battery as he heads down the straight. Try and press home his advantage, or he has absolutely nothing left to fight with. But even just using that amount of battery gains pretty much half a second on the straight, which is absolutely crazy as Dirkleton gets past Maximus. What was looking like rock bottom, he is now the hero for Aston Martin in this particular race. Up into P6, fresh mediums working well for him. Mediums versus mediums on that particular occasion. Maximus actually will be able to defend himself from Wilco just because that rear wing flappage is doing its work. So let the games continue. Timalele through this middle sector complex. Might just have got the jump on DRS on Milo. Can he just press home that advantage? Yes, he can. He is out of DRS, and now Milo really has to worry about Terziak behind, because this is where the final podium place is settled. Terziak's neck having a stroke there. As you can see, he looks left towards the apex, about halfway down the straight. As Tim now pushing for life nor money all the way through this section of corners. Gap now at 2.4 once again. Actually doing very well through those sequences of corners. Just got to match Thanassi's battery usage, really. Played a psychological game. 3 laps in this race. Still a lot can happen. And one of which could happen right now. And behind, because Dirkleton is still miles, well, he's got a very miles long DRS train. It's a very hungry caterpillar that is excavating every single ounce of slipstream in order to try and make moves. Terziak cannot go for the move. I'll tell you a man that is going for the move, though. The luck of the Irish. Round the outside goes Maximus, and before they even reached the braking zone, he was ahead. Sort of compromised his own exit, but he is through into P6 once again. There's another yellow flag, and Buck 57 has had a moment. My husband has taken full advantage, and a nice half pirouette for the crowd. It's a 6 out of 10 from them. Terziak all over the diffuser of Milo now. 4 tenths the gap. A little bit of burst of DRS, and it means that the Ferrari driver, the scampering Scuderia man, actually locks the rear tyres a tiny bit, but he's well within half a second, and well within striking distance. As Stark sort of dropped off the back of this little battle a little bit into no man's land, but I think a P5, after what could have potentially been enough gamble, will seem actually like a pretty decent reward on the whole. Tim's doing really well, actually, in terms of race pace. Both on similar battery. The gap at 2.1. Make that pretty much 2.0. And Terziak, surely, on the last lap of this race, will go for 3rd position. So Thanassi crosses the line to start the final lap of this Grand Prix. Terziak, the Flying Scotsman, has bided his time. He has waited patiently. And with DRS open, we thought the medium tyres was an interesting gamble as Buck 57 has spun again. Terziak pile drives down the inside, and the prancing horse is up into P3, but not a great exit. Milo has a chance to reclaim this. Terziak defending the inside. Milo will go round the outside, or try as he might. Terziak will try and nudge him wide to the outside, and he does so. Maximus has had a problem. Milo tried to switch back, but covered off again by Terziak, as Milo sort of misjudged it. Magico's now up into P9. Good grief, it's going all his way. Terziak will still have to defend this, though. Milo's not done yet. He will use every ounce of battery, every single little droplet of his rubber on his tyres left. He will pound those Pirellis into Narnia just to have a chance at reclaiming P3. It's a decent little exit, and deploying the ERS. He has one more chance down the inside. Sort of scares Terziak offline, but it's not enough. And it's a slide from Milo to seal the deal for the Flying Scotsman. And whether or not he wants to keep that name, feel free to message me after the race. But some scripts write themselves. And in the season where I have, well, been given a lifetime ban, in the words of Wilco, Thanassi has stepped up and reclaimed the winning crown. He crosses the line to win the first race of season 16. Timolele with great race pace, but it just did not work out for him. There's still another chance tonight, though. Terziak will round out the podium. Milo's so close yet so far. Stark, Dirkleton, Big Sam and Wilco next to finish. A great result for Big Sam. Well done to my husband. Maximus next across the line in P10. And then we wait for J-Lane. Crossing the line he goes. He cut turn 1 quite badly. I don't think it was necessarily his fault. The stewards think it was, though. He will finish the race in P12. Buck 57 will finish in 11th. And after that race, he definitely will want a big snack from that place. Jamie Tarquin, the final one to cross the line. There he is. He's weaving like he's just won the championship. And he has won the wooden spoon today. So congratulations, my friend. Tell you what, I will stamp the point home. It's a good day for the Xbox boys. P1 and P7 for Big Sam. I mean, you just can't write scripts this good, can you? What a way to start season 16. And, well, it's business as usual up at the front. Thanassi back on the top step like he absolutely never left. Timolele returns for full-time driving in Blackout. and is straight back onto the rostrum. Terziak starting as he means to go on, and starting like he went through pretty much all of last season, and that is in the top 3. And with consistency like that, if he keeps it up, well, there's no reason why he can't perform miracles today. They chinked the champagne. I was really confused because Terziak drove for Red Bull last season, and I was like, how has he won? The answer is he's in Ferrari. I know what I'm doing. But there you are. The Bahrain Grand Prix is done and dusted, and ladies and gentlemen, Thanasi has won it and got the fastest lap to boot. A fantastic race from him. Timalele in P2 with Terziak completing the podium. Milo in 4th, Stark in 5th. Great result for him. Dirkleton, driver of the day in terms of positions gained. Unbelievable result from him. Big Swimmer, P7. Great job. Wilco 8th, Magico, my husband 9th, Maximus 10th. With Buck 57, J-Lane and Jamie Tarquin gaining the remaining points because Slam and Vulcan finished before that threshold was crossed. Rather guttingly for them. Well, there you are, ladies and gentlemen. The Bahrain Grand Prix is done, if you couldn't already tell. And, well, all that remains for us to do now is just wait around a little bit. Because next up... oh, God, it's the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And you can probably guess that that is going to be chaos, completely uncontrollable. And I am so looking forward to it. That is race 1 out of 2 done for tonight. It's great to be back on the microphone here for the Blackout Racing League. For now, enjoy the music, and we'll be back soon with Saudi Arabia. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Blackout Racing League. And welcome back to your Blackout Season 15 champion on the microphone. Sorry, I have to just completely rub that in, don't I? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, what a race we had at the Bahrain Grand Prix. And needless to say, we're going to have even more fun here at the Saudi Arabian Slobberknocker. It's time for the Jeddah Corniche circuit, or as I like to call it, the Cereal Spoon Grand Prix. Look at that. It's a weird spoon, let me tell you. Magico says, sorry for my performance, wife. No, don't be sorry, man. You were good. I should have pitted on the first SC to help Tim, but I pitted and messed up. It's fine. It's the first race of a very long season. There are many learnings to happen. So if I were you, I wouldn't fret. Your qualifying performance was sick. I was completely gobsmacked. That was unbelievable from you. So well done. Keep it up. I'm loving it. Right. Out of the pits, a smattering of cars come. One of which is Big Ol' Swimmer. Followed closely by Wilco. And then Maximus, as we just saw, is out of the pit lane. And he's gone onto the mediums for his first on in qualifying. In some respects, quite surprised by that. I thought you'd want to save the medium as a race tyre, but I know, each to their own. Perhaps he's cooking up a soft tyre strategy. A mean concoction that I don't know about. But it's fine. Saudi Arabia in real life again. Guess who won it? It was Max Verstappen. However, it was behind him where things got interesting. Carlos Sainz, of course, had appendicitis, so he got his appendix removed. Someone got a pickaxe and mined it out of him. And while that was happening, well, in stepped 18-year-old Ollie Bearman. And he drove that thing like a grizzly bear should, and he beat the likes of Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris, which made rocket-powered Mohawk very happy indeed. Disregarding the fact that Hamilton and Norris had to pit still. But, you know, each to their own, we'll ignore that. But that takes away nothing from Bearman, because as an 18-year-old, your first race in a Ferrari car, with that much pressure on you, he absolutely smashed it, and has staked every claim of earning himself at least a Formula 1 seat, no matter where it is. Should be Haas he goes to, but we will never know. At the moment, he probably will want it to be Haas. If he goes to... Actually, he might want to go to Stake. Turning into Audi, it could be an interesting project. Big Sam across the line, though, and here we are at the Jeddah Corniche Pasty Circuit. Hugging the inside, that's exactly what you want to do. That is not what you want to do. You kind of want to hug it nice and narrow for that first section. Touch the curb, not touch the wall, though, because that does not gain you lap time. Rule number one. Rule number one in my school of driving. Here's Wilco, though. How's his Jeddah Sector 1? That is very nicely done indeed. And now, pedal to the metal stuff as he heads through the sweeping left-hander. Brake just after the 50, late as you dare. Hope the nose hunkers in. There's a yellow flag situation. I think Maximus has slowed down because he's invalidated his lap. That answers that question. Flicking in a bit late on the turn in, but gets it all together and just keeps it out of the wall as well. Such a claustrophobic track, but when you hook it up, there is almost no track that is better than the Jeddah Corniche circuit. Just as an ego track on time trial, when you hook up a proper lap, it is wonderful. Again, I don't know what the pole time was here in Jeddah last season. All I know is, it was me. Anyway, I've stopped bigging up my ego now. Sorry. Duracell man is going through towards the final corner. Magico gets well out of the way. Good man. Hopefully that did not invalidate his lap. Big Sam sets the benchmark, words, of a 1 minute 29.2. Across the line goes Wilco. Good grief, it's a 1 minute 27.8. That is alarmingly quick. But now we have to wait and see what other gauntlets people can come up with. Buck 57. Maximus is no front wing, that's why. Buck 57 across the line on mediums and is only half a second slower than Wilco. That is mighty impressive. Milo across the line and is just 36 thousandths off of provisional pole position. Vulcan crashed out last race and he's invalidated his lap time in this race so far. However, there is still plenty of time to rectify and patch up any damage that has come from the previous race. Stark's so close and flirting with Barrier like nothing I've ever seen. But his flap is open and he's going to gain himself P3 on the road. Only a 10th off of provisional pole. Only a 10th off his teammate for that matter. Nicely done there from the Williams driver. So who's on a lap? The answer is it's Mr. RD Magico. On a lap, chopping over these curbs using every inch of track. That's a purple sector 2. What is my husband cooking in qualifying? Yes, his race wasn't ideal in Bahrain, but you know what? As an entity in qualifying, he's been absolutely on it like a car bonnet as he heads towards the final corner, darting the nose in, staying away from barrier, getting close to the barriers but not too close. And now it's not the line of narrowest attack, but he's going to cross the line anyway and go P5, and that is pretty nice. So well done. That is pretty good. Buck 57 not going for another lap. He is going for another lap. Never mind. Across the line he goes. And it will be the start of another one. It won't be the start of another one. He's out of battery. Milo into the pit lane. There's another car behind him. And Aston Martin that crosses the line. Jamie Tarquin is washed. 6.2 seconds off pole. However, this is his proper lap. And Jamie Tarquin, believe it or not, is actually quite quick. I'm not even kidding when I say that. And I think he might, I'll be honest, I think he might be using medium traction. I'm not too sure. Did he clip that inside wall? Because it looked very much like he did for a second there. Either way, he's going to carry on. There's an Alfa Romeo with problems. Who's that? Vulcan's gone off somewhere, or someone went off somewhere. I've no idea what just happened. But they're carrying on nonetheless. Stark through the final section. There's a yellow flag for him, actually. So I don't really know what happened. He's doing a lot of... He's testing his brakes work. It's always good to know your brakes are there. That's the main thing. J-Lane coming through the final section of corners. Cooked up P5 in the Bahrain Grand Prix qualifying session. That's a very neat last corner as he just sweeps through, lets the aerodynamics do the talking, and his DRS flap open to talk more smack as he smacks it into P5 again. Consistency is key, and he's keeping himself in the top 500, and that is very nice. Jamie Tarquin then, what is he up to? Hugging the insides of curbs. And for once, it's not a purple middle sector when I watch a driver. But is that a Red Bull on a slow lap? It is. And I thought he potentially could have garnered some slipstream, but Buck 57 got dutifully out of the way, as he absolutely should. And why would he give DRS to a rival team? Who knows? But if you want to talk about using the track to its absolute limits, that entry from Jamie Tarquin pretty much was the epitome of that. But he's not going to complete the lap. He's going to come into the pit lane and apologise, because that's disgusting. But he's into the pits regardless. And he's been cut off by a Red Bull. Ganassi has come out of the pit lane, which is very brave from him, but also has impeded the Aston Martin driver. And you do have to say that was quite dubious. Stark then on another flying lap, and this is on old tyres again. Stark loves an old tyre run. Did this a couple of times last season as well. But he's going for it again here, out of the final corner. Pedal to the metal. Car darts out of the final corner and darts into the pit lane. So there you are. KarlsCars of Maximus is finally going to complete a lap. DRS open. No flirtatious frolicking with barrier, although that was almost me mincing my words, as DRS will be open. Maximum attack all the way to the line, and Maximus goes into P4. I tell you what, even without a front wing earlier on in the session, now he is not short of confidence. That's not hampered him whatsoever. Only 4 attempts separate him and potential pole position. It's out of the pit lane comes Mr. Timalele. And now things can start to get very juicy, because here is Mr. Terziak, and we are going to ride on board with him for his flying lap of the Jeddah Corniche circuit. Turn up the noise and enjoy. you go, a comprehensive lap of the Jeddah Corny circuit. A little bit wide at the final corner, but Terziak still goes pole position anyway. It's a 10th almost up on Wilco. And there you go, the prancing horseman on it like a car bonnet from the word go. Where's Timalele and all this? He's only just gone through the first sector. Magico on an outlap crosses the line to start yet another lap in this qualifying session. I say yet another lap, it's only his second flyer, but hopefully that Red Bull car, the Buck 57, gets out of the way. And he has. So that's good news. Next up the road, though, is not actually Timalele, it's Thanasi. And I don't know if he's got a purple sector too, but it wouldn't have surprised me if he did. Because he's just that kind of guy. Hugging the inside, narrowest line of attack, minimise the distance. Not maximising the entry per se, but the exit is certainly a different story. As he opens up the DRS, and it's just the oracle of all laps. As he crosses the line, good grief it is, it's a 1 minute 26.9. That is very ominous. Well then, that's thrown the cat amongst the pigeons, very much so. Tim's got absolutely no he's got all the battery left, actually. Because he's not even going to set a lap. He's not even going to set a lap. There goes my fun. Big Sam, by the way, in all of that, did a 1 minute 28.7, so that's pretty good from him. Then have an Aston Martin on a lap. It's Jamie Tarquin, and he's invalidated it again. He has invalidated it again. Some drivers have confidence by the tanker load. Jamie Tarquin is lucky to have a droplet worth of it currently. But still, he goes again, and you cannot undermine his tenacity for 1 second as he heads through the left-hander, hugs and almost kisses Barrier on the right-hand side, does the same again through the left, uses that curb on the outside, and just sweeps through the left-hander. Not too much curb being used, and that is a very tidy Sector 1 from Jamie Tarquin. Darting into the left-hander. Hope the nose sticks, and it hasn't stuck. Well, it did stick, actually. It stuck too well, is the main point. Just slid to the inside. Magico now in the 1 minute 28, so 1 minute 28.5. Very nicely done from him. Alfa Romeo out on a lap. J-Lane will open up his flap and hope to extend the gap between himself and the bottom of the lead. Oh, that is definitely doing that. P5 again. This man and P5, it's like they're having a love affair. They are absolutely super glued to each other. Fantastic stuff. Dirkleton's just finishing an outlap in the meantime. Where is everybody else in all of this? No, it's Jamie Tarquin. My apologies. DRS will be wide open. And he is going to come into the pits. I thought he was going to come back in. Got 4.5 minutes left. Get some new tyres on. Gather your momentum. Get your bearings. And then go hammer and tong again afterwards. And again, it's an unsafe release. This time from the Alfa Romeo team. As Vulcan saunters his way out of Saudi Arabia's suburb pit lane. That was the only thing I could think of at the time that rhymed. I'm not saying that it's a sub. Anyway, I think Buck 57 was on a lap, and good God he was! He's only half. Oh! Stark's on a great lap, and he's just gone P2 with a 1 minute 27.2, assisted maybe in part by Maximus, who's just started another flying lap, and he's on mediums. Maximus, I'm not sure if you do know what you're doing. I assume you do, but I don't know if it's what I do or a lot of other drivers would do. For uniqueness, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. And that's all I'll say. Vulcan will cross the line soon to start another flying lap. That will be great stuff for him. Only a few cars out on track currently, and they've just phased through J-Lane. No, they haven't. They've phased through Vulcan, who's on his outlap. Luckily for him, he has the ability to become transparent at will. And that endears him very nicely to the cars that are currently out on track. Buck 57 then, cracking lap, as it must be said. Stark, fantastic laps from the pair of them. But where they're fantastic, Thanasi's is out of this galaxy. An astronomically astonishing lap from the Red Bull driver. And he could even extend that. Or he can do a Sebastian Vettel from Singapore, I think it was 2012. Where he just did one run, sat in the pit lane, and everyone else still couldn't catch him anyway. That would be the ultimate psychological hammer blow to all the drivers on this grid. Dirkleton has crossed the line and hardly improved his time. I mean, it's an improvement nonetheless, but he remains in P12. There's a bunch of drivers on outlaps. Apart from that, everybody else waiting in the pits, although they better start getting a move on, because there is not much time now before this session comes to a close, and then we can finally ascertain the true grid lineup for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Like I said, I got pole position here last year. Can't remember what time I did. If someone can let me know what time I did, I'd love to know, because I genuinely can't remember. Haven't done Saudi Arabia. I think the last time I actually did Saudi Arabia. Oh no! Thanassi's retired, and I think he actually might have retired in the pit lane. Has Thanassi retired? No, he's retired out on track. What? Why have you done that? Unless there was a controversial moment and he's lost the front wing or something. I don't actually know, but that is very, very interesting. Thanassi choosing to retire from the session. There he is, parked up on the right. Can't see anything more other than the fact that he is out of this session. Perhaps there was some controversy I didn't know about. I'll tell you what, Milo's wasting absolutely no time getting around this circuit. And well, I don't think he can afford to waste any time, so he's having to use up the tyres. Because, well, if I could see how much time was left in the session, there's only a minute left. Actually, I think it'd be fine. You don't need to rush, mate. You can calm it down now. Milo, you can calm it down now. Milo, calm down. Oh, forget it. Vulcan's up to P9. That's more like it. Great stuff from you, my friend. Meanwhile, Mr. Magico is on another lap as he's heading through the sweeper. The left-hander, and that is very, very nice and close to the wall indeed. He's now through this right-hander, turning early. A bit too early as it turns. I will give £10 to the person that tells me how that wasn't an invalidation. But it's my husband, I don't care. Let's go, boss man. This is fantastic news. And a great run through that left-hander. Perhaps a bit more speed. Could have been afforded to have been carried. But it doesn't matter. He's still going strong. Maximus has 15 seconds. As Big Sam is out of this session. Although he's in the pit lane, so that's why. So he will go no further than P12. Jamie Tarquin has crossed the line for P9. Let's see what Magico can do as he crosses the line into P8. And after that corner, which I thought almost certainly would have been invalidated, that is quite unbelievable. Wilco's gone up to P2 in all of this. That's an incredible lap from him. But now we see if the times can continue to tumble. From Buck 57, they can't. His qualifying session is run. J-Lane has a chance. Can he find the momentum? That is as close to the wall on the inside as you can afford to get through the left. And now he's just got to hug the inside. Narrowest line of attack. Just to minimise the distance and gain just those extra hundredths of a second. As he darts in through the final corner. We do have others on laps. One of which is Timalele. Across the line. He's pole position. Timalele. One clean lap is all he needed. As J-Lane cannot prize himself away from P5. But perhaps Terziak can return the favour. What can he do? It's P5. He has taken it. No. Oh no. A good lap nonetheless, but my heart breaks. I thought it would have happened again. But that will do it for qualifying. And Timalele fell short of the final hurdle in qualifying and was just off the top step in the race. This time there's no mistakes. There can be no doubting the qualifying credentials this time. P1 by just, and I mean just, under 0.2 of a second. So the margins stay the same, but the top two swap around. However, everywhere else, it is switcheroos. Good grief. Well, that is all she wrote. Hardly anything to separate J-Lane and Buck 57. But it's Saudi Arabia. There is a long old race to go. And, well, let's put it this way. There will be safety cars. There's not even a point in trying to predict whether there will be. The answer is there just will be safety cars. And that's all you need to know. Even so, pole position puts you on the front foot for the Grand Prix for 25 laps of the Jeddah Corniche circuit. That's where we're heading to next. But when all is said and done, Timoleile has done it. The Mercedes man on pole position, followed closely by the Red Bull of Thanasi, and it's going to be a very interesting contest indeed. Williams lock out the second row, Wilco just ahead of Stark, and that is pretty damn nice for them. Terziak P5 with J-Lane in P6, Buck 57 takes his second number and goes 7th. Milo in 8th, Magico, my husband, in 9th, well done sir. Maximus in 10th, with Jamie Tarquin, Vulcan, Big Sam, and Derek Dirkleton, rounding out your grid lineup. And Cole Palmer has scored his first goal for England as they've beat Bosnia-Herzegovina. Or Herzegovina, or whatever. It's Herzegovina, I think it is. But he scored, basically. He scored his first England goal, and he is Cole Palmer. Who on the Blackout grid will have the most ice in their veins, though? Especially in the sweltering Saudi Arabian sizzling heat. That is the question. We will have the answer for you very soon indeed. Predictions for the race win, throw them all out the window. I actually have no idea who's going to win this race. I'll make a prediction right now. I think Wilco's going to win. I think Wilco is going to win this race. I've said it. Let it come alive. But whatever the case, no matter what, it's going to be a cracker here at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. I should note, I drove there last season. There was about 65 safety cars. I pit under pretty much every single one of them. And that was a mistake. Sometimes you don't want to pit. Sometimes there's such a small gap. If you play the game right and gamble correctly, you can actually play the game to perfection. But who will take the top honours in Saudi Arabia? Lights out and away we go as Tim got a good start. Yes, he has. A lot of wheel spin from Thanasi. Tim covers the inside line. Thanasi backs out of it immediately. And Wilco's been left a really wide open avenue and sweeps into P2. Terziak into 4th. Starks down into 5th. Buck 57 in 6th. Milo in 7th. J-Lane's had a terrible start. And oh no, Ferrari off. Terziak's had a massive issue. Magico is up into P6. Look at this man go. On the hard tyres, he's gone for a very interesting contra strategy. I must say that is mighty impressive, although that's wider than Uzbekistan through that corner, so we'll ignore that. But immediately, Wilco and Tim are absolutely on it. Absolutely eating up the miles in comparison to Thanasi behind, who's sort of having to regain his composure and find his feet as his teammate's the one trying to pile on the pressure. Milo's had a very decent start again on the soft tyres for the Mercedes man. Magico on hards could be susceptible in this first stanza, but on a track where traction can be so limited, there is every chance he could have played a blinder here. Through the left-hander, J-Lane choosing not to go for the move, and that is rather smart. Terziak is falling like a brick. What on earth has happened? It is the start of just disastrous proportions, and it's because he's missing his front wing end plate. Not sure what happened there, but J-Lane does get past Magico. Through he goes on the soft tyres into P6, and he will try and get down the road as quickly as possible as Timoleile sets, no surprises, fastest lap of the Grand Prix because one lap has only just gone. And Stark's gone down as well, and Stark's got problems with his front wing, so he must have made contact with Timoleile. That can only be, well, it's the only categorical explanation I have in terms of how on earth they've both ended up with front wing gremlins hindering their race. Tim and Wilco immediately confident through Sector 1. And oh no, Wilco's not confident through Sector 1. Something terrible has happened. He must have bottomed out on the curb, and that gives the opportunity for Thanasi to try and do something, but no, biding his time as Big Sam gets round Maximus. It's so much about keeping your composure at this track. If you get a rhythm, this track is your best friend. If you're constantly fighting the car, fighting with the track limits and fighting with yourself, it becomes your worst enemy instantaneously. So actually backing off a little bit, just limiting your pace slightly can actually make a world of difference as J-Lane is nipping at the heels of Milo like a hungry shark. Good grief. Loving the Jeddah cornering circuit so far, and that's because he's burning every single ounce of Duracell energy that he can possibly find. Tim, though, for now, has daylight between himself and Wilco. DRS not enabled until the start of the next lap because we are not, well, at the end of this lap, in fact, because we are not on F124.
DRS, though, is enabled now, and J-Lane has the fastest lap of the race as Milo tries to go round the outside of Buck 57. He started on the hards, but cleverly holds it round. The momentum in the Red Bull man's favour, and now it's side by side into the left-hand, and we know what happened last time between Terziak and Stark. Luckily, no such calamities between these two. Buck 57 keeps how firm of a grasp? I was going to say a firm grasp, but how firm of a grasp really is it? Because Milo and J-Lane are all over the back of him. As there's a yellow flag in Sector 1. Jamie Tarquin's out. Big Sam's out as well. What on earth's gone on there? It's been a huge collision towards the end of that sweeping section. Again, I've missed it. I'm a fraud. I'm so sorry. Why can I not just catch one crash today? It's a virtual safety car, though. It's not nearly the advantage that some drivers perhaps would have hoped for. So, the field neutralised, at least for a brief moment. If anyone wants to try and be bold and brave and get a free pit stop. In the case of Terziak and Stark, it's a worst-case scenario. They would have been gawking out for a full safety car. Oh, they have got a full safety car. That's why. Never mind. Out come the pit games as Terziak and Stark go past the scene of Big Sam and Jamie Tarquin's incident. Two cars already out, and they're both Xbox boys. It's a disaster. There is only one Xbox man that can save us now, ladies and gentlemen, and his name is Tanasi. Does Tim pit? No, he does not. That is mightily interesting. Okay, then, neither does Buck 57, and neither does Magico. This is where we'll see the strategies a little bit at play now. Whether they try and hold track position or go for some other wacky strategy, I have no idea. Thanasi goes onto the hard compound tyres. Lap number 4 could get to the end on those, but with safety cars pretty much a certainty throughout the whole rest of this race, you can pretty much bet your bottom dollar that those hard tyres will be pushed to the ragged edge and then taken straight off again. Jamie Tarquin has left the session. He has snapped his controller in half. One could say I am hyperbolizing it slightly. However, I just say, wouldn't you hyperbolise it? As Maximus gets a front wing change out of all of that. I saw Maximus, I think, was caught up in all of that as well. But luckily now, with a front wing change, he is back in the running. And Terziak is no longer second to last in this race. He is into the top 10. So I will give him a clap. There's your clap. So let's see what tyres everybody is on then as Timalele leads the safety car train around the Jeddah Corniche circuit. It's mediums and hards and hards. We already knew that for the top 3 because they haven't pit yet. However, Dirkleton stayed out as well. So there's actually 3 cars between Timalele and Wilco, who's the next closest challenger, and he's on fresh mediums. Big Sam is now Big Dead 229. Oh. Well, how's he going to swim? Oh no! Thanasi on hards, Milo on mediums, J-Lane on hards, Vulcan on hards, Terziak on hards, Maximus on softs, and Stark comes out of the pit lane for fresh tyres and is on the medium tyres. And I've no doubt the safety car will stay out for at least another lap, so he has got to absolutely fly round this track like a peregrine falcon to catch up to the hungry caterpillar. Big Sam says he's going to swim like a dead seal. Well, I will leave that to your imagination, ladies and gentlemen. Although, it's a dead seal. Generally speaking, actually, dead seals float quite well. Dead things float quite well in general, no? I think. Or am I making that up? Well, obviously Jack didn't in Titanic. That's because he had a skill issue. Anywho, we've got Dirkleton and Terziak now coming into the pits for some fresh air rubber. And Terziak going onto the soft. He's going hyper-aggressive, and Dirk going onto fresh mediums. That is hyper-aggressive from the pair of them. Maximus will get up into P9, spares his front wing damage, blushes just a little bit. Terziak onto softs though, very aggressive indeed. Last season it started off very, very well for Terziak and ended less well. Perhaps he's getting his less well results out of the way today in order to do something very, very fruity going through the remaining rounds of this championship. That promotes Wilco up into P4 then, when all is said and done, as Dirk was in P4. Obviously now is not. Thanasi up to P5, Milo 6th, etc, etc, etc. I don't need to tell you, you have eyes. So the Jeddah Corniche circuit, like I said, where a young Ollie Behrman, 18 years of age, debuted for Ferrari. The last driver to debut for Ferrari at a race? I don't actually know. I don't actually know. Maybe it was Alberto Ascari. Maybe it was. I genuinely don't know. I haven't got that fact in my locker yet, but if someone does, please send it through, and I will be very thankful. Stark should catch up to the end of this safety car train. I think it should come in at the end of this lap, regardless of any case, because, well, there's enough cars that have caught up. Never mind, no, there aren't. Safety car stays out for one more lap then, and this will save the tyres of people up at the front, so it's just gonna offset them a little bit more, which is what they want. Both Mercedes staying out. Magico choosing to play the team game here on this particular occasion. Perhaps trying to get Tim Alele the ultimate result, but he's got a very, very hungry Wilco behind him. I'll say that is a very, very late call for a safety car. It is in at the end of this lap. Please slow down, lads. You're going to have a massive accident. Luckily, people have ghosted, so it's okay. That got very, very tasty indeed, but Tim will lead us away, and now we wait to see when he pulls the trigger with the viewpoint of Buck 57 in the sister Red Bull car to his brother in P5. When does Tim pull the trigger? The safety car's not in the pits yet. Now he goes, and already Dirkleton is into the pits. Once again, he's getting out of this restart train, and Wilco is already going to try and get past Magico. Down the inside he goes, and up into P3. The Williams man goes straight away, but Magico can still do a job in the team game against Thanasi and Milo through this first sector. He doesn't have to go hyper-aggressive. Going over that curb was hyper-aggressive in that particular instance. But Terziak, the aggressive soft tyre strategy, is already past Vulcan, and now firmly has set his sights on Maximus up ahead. Out of that corner, it's a very, very great exit. A monumental exit from Terziak. The Flying Scotsman has every right to sweep round the outside. He's going to try every which way, and it's a phenomenal exit. And through into P8 goes the Ferrari man, gaining a couple of positions instantaneously. Stark right on the back of Vulcan as well. There are many, many moves that are going to be executed. As Vulcan makes a slight mistake, Stark will have the switchback. Does he dare to dream and make the move into this left-hander? I think he will, you know. The exit was so much more powerful. The superior momentum has propelled Stark forwards into P10, and so now Terziak's quest for more continues as he is hunkering down straight in the diffuser of J-Lane, practically pushing him round the track, but J-Lane himself is going for a dive on Milo. That was very, very lastminute.com, but I'll tell you what, sign me up for that URL, because that was very tasty. J-Lane can't get it done though. It's compromised his flow all the way through and down the straight. Terziak deploying battery all the while, diving down the inside of J-Lane. J-Lane does leave the space. Can Terziak go around the outside? No, he can't. J-Lane defends extremely well, and Tim Alele has not had a great restart, particularly on that first lap anyway. Through the first sector he goes though, flowing it very nicely indeed, and Buck 57 losing time hand over fist, and Wilco is right on the back of him, deploying the ERS all the way down this straight. Magico has stayed ahead of Thanasi for the entire lap, by the way. What a man. What a man. Magico is doing God's work in that second Mercedes as Terziak goes down the inside of J-Lane, up into P7. J-Lane nipping at his heels like a hungry honey badger, but only for so long, because Terziak has now sealed the deal. And unlike Big Sam, it's not a dead seal. He is very much alive and flopping his way through into P7, which actually probably sounds more insulting. Back to Wilco then. Another driver who is practically pushing others round the track. Buck 57 with a small mistake, and Wilco does not need a second invitation. He will absolutely munch that meal up. Gobble the first, second, third and dessert courses all day long. Round the outside, hardly any space for Buck 57 to work with, but it's just enough. So there's not humongous contact, and Thanasi displaced by Milo, who now will take full advantage, and through he goes on Magico, surely. There he goes, academic slipstream, and Thanasi will remain frustrated behind that second Mercedes car, but that first Mercedes car has another thing to worry about. fresher tyres, the Williams car. In some cases, it can work if you're in the right place at the right time. Wilco has bided his time extremely well. Buck 57 is out of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And we can actually see what happened. He must have hit the inside wall because he spun round, facing the wrong way. And it is another safety car. And Timalele's bacon is well and truly saved on this occasion. But now what do you do? I mean, if you pit, it's not exactly like there's an offset of gaps here. You are going to find yourself right at the back of the grid. And, I mean, they were hardly racing, to be honest. I think it was only just over 2 laps of green flag racing up to that point. And, well, if your name's RD Magico and you're in P4 and the safety car's just come out again, I think you're feeling pretty good about yourself, to be honest. Could stay out again if you want to. Buck 57 has left the session, and I don't blame him. I would have done exactly the same. So there you are. Look at that. That is a shot and a half. Look at that. The glow stick gazebos on the right-hand side adorn the Jeddah Corniche circuit. With the safety car out, Timalele does choose to pit. Wilco will stay out. Milo will stay out. Magico will stay out. Thanasi, though, pits. So Tim and Thanasi follow each other's footsteps. Onto the hard tyres goes Timalele. Thanasi's already been on the hard tyres, so he can get rid of those and slap on a fresh set of medium boots. Terziak in again, onto the mediums he goes, and after that soft tyre restart, tell you what, new tyres seems to be the key. And unbelievably, even after all of that, Terziak, Timalele and Thanasi are all pretty much on the same place on track. The script just cannot be written any better this race. I'm telling you. Unbelievable stuff. Genuinely unbelievable. I'm pretty sure Bernd Mailander just exceeded track limits there. I'm checking and... oh, it is a demotion for Esteban Ocon, unfortunately. So, yeah. Sorry, safety car. I don't make the rules. But you have just punished another man right there. And that sounds like a terrible time. So let's move on. Stark's up to P5 in all of this. Look at him go. Stark is up into P5. That is quite unbelievable. Vulcan into P6. Timalele, first of the cars that have recently pit, in P7. Thanasi in P8. Terziak in 9th. Maximus in 10th. Dirkleton pit, I think, slightly earlier than all of those 4 up ahead. But even so, he's going to catch up to the back of this queue on fresher mediums than the top 6. And that will be pretty fun. We are under safety car conditions here in the Blackout Racing League for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Not even halfway through this contest and has already been 2 safety cars. Am I depressed? At the safety cars, possibly. Am I depressed at the racing on display? Absolutely not. It's been a great time indeed. And I'm looking forward to seeing what that man up at the front does. Mr. Captain Wilco made the bold call to come into the pits, and had it not been for that safety car, would have easily got past Timalele and taken the lead of the Grand Prix. Milo did well to displace Thanasi. Magico did God's work on the teamwork side of things. Finds himself in a podium position now. The ultimate fairy tale is Wilco winning and Magico getting a podium, I'm telling you. I nearly said Baku for a second there. The Baku bomber at Baku winning would be very, very fruity indeed, but he's at Jeddah in this case, so... although... actually, I'm not going to say that, but you probably can guess what I'm alluding to. Behind a safety car for at least another lap then. And I'll be interested to see the progress of 1, 2, 3, 4 cars now. Again, a couple of laps offset compared to most of the cars up ahead. The only one with significantly older boots on his goose is Magico. As you can see, 9 laps, 6 laps, 6 laps, 6 laps, although a bunch of those were on the safety car, so really, racing laps-wise, they've only put 3 laps of wear through the tyres. That's the crucial thing to remember. Positions gained while we are here. That's not it. Jaylen's still the fastest lap, though. That is pretty cool. What am I looking for? Positions changed. Here we go. A bunch of people up 6 positions. In fact, 3 drivers are, which means Satan is on his way. But Milo's up 6, Magico's up 6, and Vulcan is up 6 as well. Timolele, not Timolele, my apologies. He's down 6 positions. Bad job, do better. Dirkleton up 3, and Wilco up 2. As the other slightly smaller winners. And, you know, J-Lane actually with the fastest lap. I feel like he's got some confidence around this track. Don't count him out of potential fairy tale here at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. There's every chance something very, very miraculous happens indeed. Apparently the safety car, there it is. The safety car is in this lap, and that is great news because now we can head back into the big time and see what these drivers can concoct. On board with Milo then, we are going to find out when Wilco pulls the trigger with his fingers. Although if he's playing upside down on his rig, that would be very impressive. So I sincerely hope it's his right foot doing the work. Saudi Arabia will soon ignite to the sounds of the symphony of the V6 turbo hybrid. Wilco, I believe, has pulled the trigger. No, he hasn't. No, he has not. That right there is blue balling at its finest from the Baku bomber. But off he goes now. Trigger is pulled and away we go for more racing. I want an interval gap. And we are back on the way for racing at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. J-Lane thought about making a move, but no one really capitalising on anybody's track position. Timolele thinking about it though. Vulcan with a mistake. Through goes Tim. Through goes Thanasi. Maybe through goes Terziak as well if he's feeling brave, but not brave enough. And I don't blame him because that was a gap that was always going to close. So well decided, my man. Wilco already storming into a 7/10 gap up at the front. Magico doing God's work again. Trying to defend as J-Lane goes wider towards Kazakhstan. Probably isn't a great idea. Stark being overtaken by Timolele. Down the inside on the fresh hard tyres and easily past he goes. Thanasi will take advantage, snake his way up the inside as well. Although choosing not to try and go for the outside line on the right-hander because that is a suicide mission. And there's things I can't say to that, but Magico has already developed a 2-second gap up at the front. He's just backing the cars up. He's letting his teammate into this little battle. J-Lane is going to try and get through before the left-hander. Magico will just defend the inside, though. You know he will. J-Lane with a cracking move, though. Holds it round the outside. Tim will surely be allowed through. But he's got a different problem. Thanasi is trying to get all involved in this. Timolele will be let through. Huge crash. Magico. Timolele in the wall. Magico's out. Tim's round. Thanasi's round. That was always going to happen. The haste of the Mercedes drivers to try and execute the teamwork has been completely nullified because Timolele in the barriers, he's going to surely pit. He does pit. Thanasi will surely have to pit. Magico pays the ultimate price. He's out of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And Wilco into the pit lane he goes. Of course, he's already been on the soft tyres. For some reason, waits quite a while to get out, but when he does, it is well executed. And the Williams team with almost a perfect double stack for Mr. Stark as well, as through he goes. And well, if there was such a thing as replays, if I had the manpower and the willpower and the brain power to be able to garner up the replay of that particular incident, I don't blame Thanasi for trying to go for the gap. I think Magico was... Yeah, well, I think... Well, the thing is, on my point of view, I think Magico tried to play it really smart. The only way we'll ever know exactly what was going on is from Thanasi's point of view. I kind of wish I was on it now, but unfortunately I wasn't. Looked like the gap was going to be too small anyway, though. You always knew Magico was going to leave just enough room for his teammate, but not enough room for the Red Bull driver to make his way through. That's the team game. Thanasi went into that gap, though, tried to make the most of the opportunity, and, well, it's cost not only himself dearly, but Magico even more dearly. And he is not a happy bunny. And I actually really don't blame him, to be honest with you. 4 drivers already out, and I've just realised it's our 3rd safety car of the race. I am going to jump out of the window. Never mind, I'm on the ground floor. For God's sake, man. Just over halfway through the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, and I'm sweating. I am sweating. A lot's happened. The most recent fracas to have unfolded between the two Mercedes cars and the lone Red Bull remaining in this race of Thanasi. Magico obviously was going to let Tim Alele through. There was no question about that. Left the gap on the inside. Thanasi saw the room, thought there was enough. Tried to go through on it. Unfortunately, the gap not wide enough. Yes, it was close behind him, but sometimes patience is a virtue. And that's probably my phrase of the entire Formula 1 game, to be honest with you. Patience is a virtue. And if you just waited a corner more, potentially garnered yourself a better exit, then maybe you could have made the overtake anyway. But that's just my opinion. There you go. And I'm the man behind the microphone, or as my husband Magico calls me, the professional natterer. And I quite like that title. I'm going to stick with it. Magico's very happy with his position and strat. I was pretty happy with your position and strat from what I could see, honestly. There's a good chance of another safety car regardless. Just gutting that it had to be you on the wrong end of it, but genuinely. I blame... right. Big Sam's come in with a decent point. I blame you, Carl. You destroyed him for a season. Now he's in his villain era. Well, I mean, in fairness to him, he wasn't there for half the races. So, if he was there for a whole season, who knows? But your season 15 champion has an opinion. Whether it's right or not, I leave up to you. I've apparently put him in his villain arc, though, so... Oops. Safety car will surely be in at the end of this lap. At least I hope it is, because I'm getting very tired of waffling through it. As through the Sector 2 split line they go, into Sector 3 they plummet. And the safety car is showing no signs of relinquishing. Never mind, safety car is in. Thank Christ for that. We are back. This time Milo leading the field. Tim Alele led the previous two safety car restarts. No, it was Wilco, actually. My apologies. It was Tim Alele, Wilco, and... now Milo. That's the one. It's got brain rot for some reason. Anyway, on board with J-Lane. When will Milo put his finger on the trigger? Except he doesn't play on a controller, so when will he put his pedal to the metal? That is the question. Maybe. Oh no! A little bit of a skirmish between these two as J-Lane does a Max Verstappen, gets alongside, and that's cost him horribly. J-Lane caught hugely napping, and Milo has got the absolute restart of dreams, and we are go again in Blackout. Terziak is going to dive down the inside of J-Lane straight away then. Down the inside, but J-Lane actually defends it extremely well, and Maximus is now going to try and capitalise. That is brilliant opportunism once again. Seems to be my phrase of the day for him as he tries to go round the outside of the left-hander. He's gone round the outside of the left-hander. Magico trying to go round the outside of the double right. It's not happened, and he's just going to have to wait a little bit longer. But Terziak bottoms out on the curb, and like Tony Hawk, he skated through there. And Wilco says, thank you very much. Up into P4 I go. And now the Flying Scotsman exposed from St. German. Round the outside goes Tim Alele. Up into P5 briefly, although not the greatest mid-corner. But the exit is vastly superior. And on he goes. Already the Milo has garnered 2.7 seconds worth of an advantage. The McLaren man's in dreamland. He's like, where's everyone gone? Maximus is trying it on J-Lane. J-Lane's tried to do it previously to other drivers. However, now the Irishman is trying to go for something very, very fruity indeed. As now a four-car train develops. J-Lane, Maximus, Wilco, Tim, Terziak, Vulcan as Thanasi gets ahead of Dirk up into P9 and is going to try and get past Stark into P8 as well. He's in his villain arc and he's on the soft tyres to boot. As round the outside he goes, he leaves the space. Can he get the traction sorted out? He's actually not got a great exit initially, and Stark will actually be given slipstream from Vulcan. Doesn't really matter though. Thanasi's going past not just one car. He thought about two cars, but Vulcan is going for a move down the inside of Terziak. Thought about it. He's going to have to hold it round the outside though, and Thanasi's going to try and get a good exit, but it's not good enough. Wilco up into P3, and now, oh no! Wilco's had a massive problem. Front wing gone. He waits patiently for the other drivers. Just reverses a little bit so he doesn't, well, clatter into barrier. But that is absolute devastation for him. We look up ahead to see what's happened. Thanassi's up into P6, gone astronomically wide in all of this. And now Maximus is back up into P3 and chasing down J-Lane again. God, it's all happening here in Jeddah. Have I cursed Wilco? Have I cursed him? I actually might have done, and I'm really sorry. That's all I can say. I can only profusely apologise. Maximus almost bump drafting J-Lane down this little straight bit, though, and not this straight bit because it's not straight, but Maximus will have DRS. No, he won't. But he will have slipstream, and he will easily breeze round the outside of J-Lane. Whether J-Lane's saving battery or not is another matter, but Maximus has more battery anyway. Tim down the inside, away he goes on his new mediums, and through Timalele goes into P3. Very nicely done, calm and composed, but he's still side by side. J-Lane not giving this one up without a fight, trying to use his battery. Good grief, that was close to an absolute plane crash. That would have brought Wilco right back into the race, but Timalele, cool as you like, round the outside he goes, and it is P3. Forza German. Terziak thought about trying to capitalise on J-Lane's compromise situation. However, it's not to be. And so we carry on. Miller with a 2.6 second gap out in front on the medium tyres. Maximus, though, is on the move. And by on the move, I mean wider than your mum. Sorry, that was very rude. Tim in P3, J-Lane out of DRS range already, and now he's got two very, very hungry sharks in Terziak and Thanassi. The two, oh no! J-Lane's crashed, and that's surely another safety car. Wilco has been saved. It's the fourth safety car here at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And now the big question, do you pit or do you stick? Cheering on Tim. Come on, Timalele, says his teammate Magico. Or it's Timalele. On the driver's sheet, looking at the teams and the drivers, his name was Timali. Who knows what his actual name is? But there you go. So then, J-Lane's race comes to an end. And that might be another driver I've cursed, because I said don't count him out. He seems to have great confidence around the Corniche circuit. And, well, evidence in front of your eyes, confidence couldn't be lower. And I've only got myself to blame. Vulcan leads the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Absolutely everyone is coming into the pits. So it's going to be a straight fight to the end of this race. Maximus onto the medium tyres, and away he goes. As Stark comes into this. I forgot about the second Williams. I apologise, Stark. Into P5 he comes out. As Tim's all the way down in P... What on earth happened to Tim? Wilco said Leroy time, and I blame you. Sorry. It's the thought that counts. That's what I tell myself anyway. Vulcan leads the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It's Milo in P2, Maximus in 3rd, Thanassi up to 4th, Stark in 5th, Tim in 6th, Dirkwood in 7th, Terziak 8th, and Wilco bombing his way down into turn 1. Although might be on the AI given the fact he's had time to message me Leroy time. Even so, he's in P9 and will easily catch up to the back of the safety car queue anyway. I'd happily assume that actually it will stay out for quite a few laps. Carl, did you have my death on stream? I did, actually. I caught it on the outside shot. Like I say, I kind of wish I had Thanassi's point of view, because that's where all of the pincering, well, happened, essentially. But, yes, I do have it. I do have the death. That sounds like a very big way to get cancelled from F1 talk. So let's move on. Also, Magico said he's very angry but can't rage now on voice, so his fist hurts instead. Blackout, you are grievously injuring people instead of just injuring their vocal cords. Anyway, moving on. Wilco is going to catch up to the back of this queue very, very easily indeed. And I would not blame him if he just came into the pits and put a soft set of boots onto his car again. Whether he has a new set of soft tyres ready to put onto his car, I have no idea. But if he does, there's no reason why he can't deploy them because he'll easily, in my opinion, catch up to the back of this safety car queue regardless. Have fresher tyres than everybody else, and it's a great time. He chooses not to pit though. He's going to get up to the back of this safety car queue. And then it is really Leroy time for the Baku Bomber. Lap number 18 out of 25 here at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Vulcan in the lead, Milo in second, Maximus third, Thanasi in fourth, Stark in fifth, Timolele sixth, Dirkleton in seventh, with Terziak and Wilco rounding out our running order. J-Lane, our latest retiree from the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, because he had a nice smooch with Barrier. Max in third, I know. It's spicy. I'll tell you what, his pace, before that safety car came out, his pace was actually really good, so... Don't count Max out. I said that to J-Lane and he sort of exploded, but don't count Max out for 1 second. It could get quite spicy. Just be aware. Fourth wall slightly. Big Sam has just put a gif of David Mitchell basically talking about 4 safety cars. You can probably guess which gif if you know David Mitchell. I want to see an Irish flag on the podium. So do I. Let's see if it ends off that way though. Safety car will inevitably be in at the end of this lap. And then Vulcan can lead us away. Irishman in first, Irishman in third. How old are his tyres though? Oh dear. Now this could be quite grisly, although Vulcan is a grizzly bear. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens here. And he's on medium, so perhaps with the offset between the soft tyres wearing and the medium tyres wearing, he could concoct something pretty fruity indeed. On board with Milo then, let's see when Vulcan pulls the trigger, whether he decides to go for the optimal final corner line. Go slightly wider, but nothing dramatic. Milo right under his diffuser. Watch and breathe just in case. The safety car just crosses the pit line. When will Vulcan pull the trigger? Just weaving about a little bit. Milo trying to anticipate when he pulls it, but he hasn't anticipated it enough. And we are go again at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. What a restart from Stark as he looks to try and make moves on Thanasi. It's not going to happen. Terziak, though, is making moves, and that is quite a heinous move. Down the inside of Dirkleton. Contact made, and now Wilco. That's a lovely switchback from Wilco. Good grief. Dirkleton going to try and hold it down the inside. That was almost suicidal. But, well, at the end of the day, he did keep it. Milo's in the lead, meanwhile, and now it's Maximus's turn, and he's on fresh mediums again. That is very interesting. And why have you done that? You've actually ruined my day, computer. Back up looking at the action, and Thanasi is apparently 3 seconds behind. Maximus trying to go around the outside of Vulcan. That could have got very interesting indeed. Instead, he says, I'll have a nice touch of switchback with that. And I'll tell you what, he thought about it and gave it a damn good go. Tim's right on the fringes of passing Mr. Thanasi once again here. And if Thanasi 3.7, Wilco's now up into P7. Wilco is a man on a mission here with just 6 laps to go of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Terziak must have made a mistake because Dirkleton even has managed to make his way past. Milo's found himself with a very, very nice gap up at the front once again. But Vulcan's defence and resistance can only last for so long. Maximus will make his way up into P2. Thanasi will try and go around the outside to get P3, but it's not going to happen. He's going to have to bide his time. Thanasi not even deploying battery yet. He's got some good straight line speed in the setup. He's going to surely dive down the inside. No, he is not. I stand corrected. Vulcan with a slight mistake, and it means Thanasi is going to deploy the switchback, and as we all know, switchback is supreme. Thanasi through into P3. Milo with a gap of already 2.1 seconds up at the front. And now we wait and see what Maximus can do against Thanasi. That was so close to skating over the curbs. Luckily, he doesn't do such a thing. Big crash. Timolele's in the wall. And what on earth happened to Vulcan? He's had massive problems. Luckily, he's still facing the right way. It's a swipe on the Mercedes man. And has he got front wing damage? I can't see any to speak of. Stark's through into P4. We're going to have to find out with just how well he can keep up with the Williams driver. But it's another fork in the road for the Mercedes driver. The pole sitter has had the absolute, hasn't had the rub of the green at all. It's been completely the opposite to what you would have anticipated, as Terziak's all over the back of Dirkleton, snipping at those rear Pirelli tyres. Ferrari man deploying the battery, and he's got lots of it to use. Goes to the outside line. Will garner a bit of slipstream from Wilco up ahead. And surely by the time he makes the corner, he's through. And he's going to dive it on Wilco for good measure. Massive contact made. And Wilco's had a little moment into the barrier. Terziak's had a moment of his own. Good grief, it is all happening here at Jeddah. It is all happening, and Timolele, well, he must not have got front wing damage because he's breezed past Stark, and the mission for the Mercedes man continues. Just 4 laps to go of this race, and Wilco gets back ahead of Terziak. Dirkleton keeping both of them honest, though. P2, let's see what Maximus can try to do. Mediums versus softs. I always kind of think of, right, okay, how is that not a track limits penalty yet? Good grief. I don't know, but it's no worse than Thanassi's first sector because he's dropped a couple of temps, actually, off of the back of Maximus. And Maximus is really pushing. He's really, really pushing right on the ragged edge on those medium tyres. This race is not over yet by any stretch of the imagination. Yes, the softs will have the purchase for the time being, but with the mediums being the way that they are, both on about the same battery, Timolele is now the one threatening the Red Bull driver, as Thanassi did not get DRS somehow, I think, on that first straight, unless my game's just, well, glitching out, which wouldn't be a surprise. But Tim's going to try something dastardly on Thanassi. Thanassi's got so much overspeed, and Tim thought about a move to the inside, has scared Thanassi into basically retaking the inside line. Surely both of these guys are going to try and breeze past Maximus. But, well, we saw what happened the last time these two got together on track. Timolele sets the fastest lap. Both of them passed Maximus. It's not an Irish flag on the podium for the time being. But if these two get in each other's way, there's no reason why there can't be, to be honest with you. There is no reason why that can't be the case at all. Tim versus Thanassi. Thanassi on pretty much a full battery. That is unbelievable. There's another yellow flag. Oh no, Wilco! No, why had Vulcan's hit the wall in the meantime? There's not a safety car, though. There is not a safety car. Millo's 4-second lead will be preserved. And that has actually gone up quite a lot. Millo is having a goddamn race of his life. Thanassi must be running low downforce. He's got absolutely no pace in the corners whatsoever. Wilco has left the session, and all I can say is I profusely apologise. I profusely apologise. That is all I can say. I said Wilco and Magico being on the podium together was the ultimate fairy tale, and I have blown it for both of them. The commentator's curse strikes again. Millo is in a world of his own. He doesn't even need to think about attempting anything overzealous. Can just coast this to the end, to be honest with you. Maximus is right on Timolele, but Stark is right on Maximus. Oh no! Front wing off for Maximus. I saw the end plate go absolutely flying into space. And if there was any hope of an Irish flag on the podium, that you could say goodnight Irene to that one. Front wing end plate has been completely destroyed on that Haas car. And, well, it could leave him vulnerable. Timolele has thought Thanassi's vulnerable. Sliding into turn number 1. Timolele massively over the curbs, trying to get through. Massive traction loss on the exit. Somehow only loses 4 thousandths to Millo, though. Well, that is quite some throttle modulation. Let's see, though, the gap now at 4.7 seconds. Let's see how much that will potentially increase by as we head through the rest of this section. The answer is a couple of temps at least, almost 5 seconds. And I'll be absolutely certain that Millo is running, well, that Thanassi's running lower wings than everybody else, based on the fact that Millo can gain temps upon temps through the corners. And Tim is practically pushing him through that left-hander. There is a final twist in the tail to be had in this Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Milo driving a class above the rest of the field. Has made the bold calls, but most importantly, kept himself out of trouble. And at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, that is exactly what you need to do. Hugging the inside of this left-hander. Atanasi gaining time on the straights, just as I thought he would. But Tim is gaining more time, trying to stay behind. And I wouldn't blame him if he did stay behind, because he'll get a second bite of DRS if he does. Tanasi very aggressively chops the door closed against Tim Alele, trying to deploy some battery of his own, but resistance is surely futile. Tim goes to the outside, my apologies, and he sweeps round the Red Bull driver. Tim Alele through into P2, and now he has to try and get up the road as quickly as possible, but with an exit like that, Thanasi's going to try and go for it, and he tries to get back ahead. Tim Alele's so brave on the brakes, and Thanasi is practically squeezed off the track. That was very, very aggressive. Perhaps not enough space afforded, but I imagine that is some potential karma and payback. What happened earlier in the race, that was a huge snap of oversteer from the Mercedes, the Red Bull driver. I've done it. I've referred to him by his past team name, and Stark has also had a huge snap of oversteer in all of that. Tim through the left-hander, and it's surely out of DRS range. It almost is, actually. It almost is. Tim has no battery left to play with at all, though. So it could get tasty. Let's see how much Thanasi catches up by, although now he's outside of a second. But, as you can see, he won't have DRS. Oh, the detection zone was after the left, no wonder. But he will on this one, because he's caught up half a second. Basically just from using battery, although now he's almost on level pegging with the Mercedes driver. What was 9 tenths, now eroded down to 6 tenths, now 5 tenths. Tim's got to get a good exit off of this corner. He's saved enough battery to just deploy and defend a tiny bit. Thanasi deploying every ounce of electrical energy. It's a war of the Duracell bunny between these two. Thanasi's right up on Tim Alele, forces him to defend the inside line, but Thanasi's gone wide into turn 1 himself. Such was the overspeed on that Red Bull machine, and he remains in P3. Now Tim has to get to work once again through this Sector 1 complex. Look at that, the Red Bull just snaking and shimmying and then gliding over that next curb. The balance is not on it like a car bonnet for the Red Bull. Through the left-hander again, going wide and again losing so much time through the mid-corner. And it's going to cost him. We're on the last lap of the Grand Prix. It's Thanasi's last chance to try and have a bite with DRS. As he goes out of the corner, again he's a second away. Not much battery left to play with, but I'd be absolutely certain he has lower wings. So he's going to deploy every single ounce of battery and electrical energy. By that I meant DRS. I don't know why he's deploying two of the same thing. That's quite weird. Although a shimmy out of that corner, that could seal the deal in terms of the podium battle. But I'll tell you what is certainly signed, sealed, delivered. This McLaren man doesn't even have to do anything through the final corner. He's already celebrating before the line. It's a masterclass from Milo. He wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Tim will just hold on to P2. Thanasi will claim a podium after all of that. But there could be a dark cloud of the stewards looming over his head yet. We have no idea. Stark will claim P4, Terziak 5th, Maximus will gain 6th, despite the front wing damage. Dirkleton in P7, and could get fastest lap, actually. Perhaps he was going for fastest lap. Can Dirkleton get fastest lap for the Aston Martin team across the line? No. Well, then maybe he already got it. I actually have no idea. Let me check quickly before Vulcan crosses the line. Detail. Fastest lap. No, he didn't. He was half a second off. Tim will have the fastest lap. Vulcan to finally cross the line to claim P8. Even after the tumultuous race he might have had at times, it's still 8th. And that is solid points for the Irishman. Well, goodness me. Almost half the grid falling foul to the walls and the wacky racing here at the Jeddah Corniche circuit. But Milo picking up where he left off at the end of last season. Back on the podium, nay, top step of the podium, he raises to us. Shake of the hand, pat of the heart. And he is the beating heart of that McLaren team because he was the only one driving today. The 7-up 3 is sprayed in copious amounts. But it really was a masterclass from Milo. Like I said, stayed out of trouble. That is exactly what you need to do in order to make the most of the results at this Saudi Arabian Grand Prix track. And there you are. Look at those, looking through binoculars because the rest of the grid were nowhere. Timalele in P2. He's got 2 second places and a fastest lap to his name as well. So that's pretty good on the whole for him, it must be said. Thanasi in P3 rounds off the podium. Stark in 4th. Terziak rounds out the top 5. He had a bit of an up and down race on the whole, a roller coaster ride, but the roller coaster ride took him to some decent points nonetheless. Maximus in 6th. Dirkleton in 7th with Vulcan in 8th. We then have a lot of DNFs. Wilco and J-Lane, I believe, will still score points, but then it's Magico, Buck57, Big Sam, and Jamie Tarquin, who did not finish this race. 6 drivers crashing out or having problems at the Jeddah circuit. And some of it was just a little bit controversial. But like I say, it's a community league, so let's not start fisticuffs. Let's not uppercut our neighbour. Thou shalt treat thy neighbour as thyself. If thou shalt give an uppercut, thou shalt receive an equally aggressive uppercut. And apparently that first timer wasn't enough, so we're going to have another timer anyway. What does this do for the championship standings? I have no idea. In short, I have absolutely no idea. I think it means... What would it mean? I'm trying to calculate it in my head now based on Blackout results. Second place is 24, so it would be 48 plus 3. That's 51. Thanasi got 33 for winning the first race, and then it's 20 for 3rd place, so it's 53. Okay, so Thanasi leads by 2 points. There you go. That's what you all wanted to know. Thanasi, back where he left off, like he never left, in fact, and is already leading the championship after week 1. Although, as I learned after week 1 of my league racing career in Blackout, just because you have a good first week doesn't necessarily mean it continues in later weeks. And for that matter, and by extension, having a terrible first week doesn't necessarily mean it will carry over into future weeks. And that is week 1 of a very, very long season to come. And you can best believe that I am looking forward to every single moment that it has in store. Well, look at those wonderful graphics. He might not have finished the race, but he wins in my heart always. Mr. Magico, take a bow, sir. These graphics are absolutely second to none. And you are a superstar. If you haven't followed him while you're watching this, go and follow him right now. Check him out. Terziak said, absolute shocker. Yes, but, like I said, listen, I led most of the race in Imola last season, and I came 16th. I then came 8th in Canada, and we all know what happened from there. So 1 week of bad, especially the first week, does not translate whatsoever. I can tell you that much. Throw the form book out of the window every single week, pretty much, because it's going to be a great season. And I am absolutely here for every single second of it. Cheers for commentating, Karl. Terziak, thank you. It is very nice to be back indeed, and you're very welcome. It's always a pleasure to do these, and it's a pleasure to be back on the microphone for Blackout Gaming. As some of you might know, I'm also commentating, presenting, whatever, with a certain other league racing firm with some relatively big names racing. And I owe pretty much all of that to Blackout. I pretty much owe all of that to Blackout. They are the reason that I am there, and they are the reason that I love commentating, and they're the reason I always come back to it to this day. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I've said thank you a million times to you as an entity, but I'm going to keep saying it because I can. Wilco says, I'm not angry with you, just disappointed, Karl. I am feel. That is all I can say. But Terziak says thank you from the entity. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure through and through. And what a season we have in store. For those of you that are curious, next week, and if you get your practicing boots on, it could get very interesting indeed. Next week is going to be... Metaphorical drumroll, please. Where is it? Let me find it. Let me cook. Where's the calendar? Next week is Australia and Miami. Again, 35 and 50, I assume in that order. Who knows what could happen?
That's the joy of Blackout racing. You never quite know what's going to happen. So, Terziak says, I hate Miami, but you finished P2 last time. So it can't be that bad. Australia was good memories for Terziak. He won that race. So, but who will write the rulebook this time? Bahrain and Saudi. Who won last season? Thanasi won Bahrain last season, and he won again this season. Some things never change. Saudi, I got pole position, still didn't win. Terziak won. Again, a million safety cars, and I gambled too much on pitting and hoping new tyres would help. It just didn't work out for me. Although it did work out for Milo today. So it's not 100% foolproof, is all I'm trying to say. But if you get it right, it goes very, very right indeed. Well then, don't think there's much to talk about, other than just a quick rundown of things, and then I will end it off for you. What a joy it is to be back on the microphone. It has been quite a long time. Although I have done various things outside of it. Actually, another thing I'm doing, I'm commentating for St Albans City Football Club. That's fun. I'm on it various weeks. Obviously, the football season isn't on yet. But when it is, who knows, I might be commentating some games. So if you just want to watch some just Champions League quality football, better than the likes of Real Madrid, Manchester City, who are they? More like Manchester shit. Hate my microphone when it does that. It always cuts off my swearing. Oh well. Anyway, moving on. The point is, if you enjoy good football, you will enjoy the Blackout. Well, firstly, if you enjoy Formula 1, you'll enjoy Blackout. But if you enjoy good football, you'll enjoy St Albans. And if you enjoy both anyway, who cares? Watch both anyway, because it's fun. Good save. Well, there we are. Blackout, Bahrain. It was Thanasi that took the win with fastest lap. After the second safety car restart, it was domination from the two-time champion on F1 23. Then we headed to Jeddah, where the form book was completely thrown out of the window. But Milo ended the season as he meant to go on for this season, and he has certainly fulfilled that. He won the race, didn't get fastest lap, but a win is a win nonetheless. And he is fighting right at the forefront, and if he can continue to do that, then who knows? Who knows? We could be in for a very, very interesting turn of events indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for Blackout Gaming and Blackout Racing on F1 23 in this new season. Season 16. Where are the emotes I made for you? I'm a Twitch boomer, and I don't know how to do them, so please help me. Magico made me some emotes, though. Again, follow Magico. He's the GOAT. He's my husband. Some say I'm biased. I say I'm not. But go and check out Magico, because he's brilliant. Lol. No, don't do that to me. Come on, man. Don't do that to me. I'm 23. I'm not a boomer yet. Please, man. Anywho. The good news is, if you're going to miss the Blackout Racing League, don't worry. Never fear. We are back at the same time next week. Monday night, 8 o'clock in the evening, for more crazy Blackout chaos. So, the Blackout Bonanza will continue at Australia and Miami. If you did enjoy this first week of the championship, be sure to follow if you haven't already. And if you're watching this again on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. It's going in my commentary playlist. Go and check out my other commentaries if you haven't already. Also, check out my social medias because Magico has put them on the end screen, which is quite unbelievable. As you will see, it looks like that. There's my Twitter. There's my Instagram. It's absolutely beautiful. Thank you all very much for watching. Thank you to Blackout for allowing me to commentate. Thank you to them for everything they've given me. And all that remains for me to say is, have a lovely, lovely rest of your day. Thank you all for watching. And good night.